Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Congratulations to Andrew Perloff. Paul George is a Philadelphia 76er.
Oh, I thought you would mean that because the Sixers re-signing Kelly Oubre, the best-looking man in the NBA. Okay.
Well, I guess that too. Sure.
All right, so my phone is blowing up with the Sixers are headed towards a championship. Count me as dubious, Maggie Gray.
Okay. Why?
I mean, come on. Paul George is injury-prone to start, and the Sixers are an injury-prone team. How can all of us Sixers fans not be nervous about this because of the health situation?
4 years, $212 million, and good morning, everybody, because NBA free agency is well underway. Paul George was like the biggest domino probably to fall. There were a lot of other moves yesterday. We'll talk about the Lakers. We'll talk about the Golden State Warriors, but this one happened probably while you were sleeping or maybe late into the night. So what happened essentially is that the Clippers did not want to go to that fourth year. And maybe they never really wanted to have Paul George back because they've had 5 years with Paul George where they traded not just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander long ago, but also, 5 first-round picks? I mean, this was the deal that never ended. I mean, for what they gave away for Paul George. And the fact of the matter is the team never got to a Western Conference final. So maybe they thought this had just gone as far as it could go. And there weren't a ton of suitors for Paul George. We know that the Warriors tried to execute a trade. That did not happen. George ended up, opting out of his contract and just signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, who had been saving all this cap space to pair him with Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I mean, also the irony is we didn't think much about the actual compensation when the Clippers traded for James Harden from the Sixers. Now the Sixers not only make the Clippers a little worse, they have the Clippers draft picks moving forward in the James Harden deal. So everything has been a disaster for the Clippers. I will say one thing about the Clippers. In my mindset, as a former fan of the process with the Sixers, you're kind of clearing house. So James Harden for 2 years, Kawhi for 3 years. And at some point in the future, you had to just rip the Band-Aid and start over and hope that you clear your entire cap space.
Okay, but they just gave James Harden yesterday 2 years and $70 million. That's clearing it?
Well, no, but that wasn't going to happen within 2 years. Anyway, they're stuck with Kawhi, who's going to age and be completely inefficient because of his health history. The 2 years is not bad. In NBA terms, that's like a blink of an eye. Sure. As long as it's not, they didn't want to go 4 years. Can you imagine if they were stuck with a 39-year-old Paul George, a 39-year-old James Harden, and an injury-prone 35-year-old Kawhi Leonard? Like, this was time.
I get it from the Clippers side. Yeah, I know that they're moving into a new arena. Yeah. They wanted all these LA people, guys who are from LA to kind of help sell this. I don't really know why that necessarily mattered so much, but just put a good product together and people will come to the games. It doesn't matter where somebody's from. But yeah, okay, they didn't want to go to the fourth year with Paul George. You're dubious about this for your Philadelphia 76ers, and I'm here to tell you this was a good move. Okay. And yes, Paul George has an injury history, of course, but you're basically doing this for 2 years. And here's why. If in 2 years you have not won a title with the Philadelphia 76ers, it's over. Like, Joel Embiid would likely ask for a trade, or he's so injured that he just can't be the centerpiece of a team anymore. Daryl Morey, the GM's probably getting fired. Who knows? You just have to start building around Maxey. Like, you basically have 2 years, it feels like. So treat the Paul George contract almost like a 2-year deal, even though it's a 4-year deal, because if you win a title in the next 2 years, you're not going to care about the back end of that contract. You're just going to be so happy that the process worked and that you actually won a title with Joel Embiid. Everything's going to be fine.
Why that random 2-year marker?
Because I think afterwards, Joel Embiid would ask out. I think that there's always been this sort of like, will he, won't he? And I wonder if in 2 more years, if he would get restless and ask for a trade.
Okay. First of all, championship's not happening. That is...
Why not? A new team wins this every year.
Because I've watched enough Joel Embiid, and there's just no way he's going to be healthy in the playoffs. So Paul George and Tyrese Maxey are a nice little outside duo. That ain't winning a title. It's just never going to come together for them. This group. And Daryl Morey is way too much of a high-end guy. He's supposed to be an analytics guy, and he's building a team completely the wrong way. These big, older stars. And I hate to say it, in 2 years, Joel Embiid's going to be an old, injury-prone player as well. I'm not sure where that many teams are going to want him as badly as you think. So I don't know about this 2-year marker, but I'll bet you in 3 years, the Sixers are going to be like, oh, my God, what are we going to do now? We're stuck with this massive Paul George contract, and we have this, everyone keeps talking about these aprons and salary cap situations. I think in 3 years, we're going to look back at this, like many, many, many NBA deals, to be like, oof, that one hurts.
Well, if you're thinking about the whole entire
history of free agency,
but no, I'm just saying if you're looking at the whole deal, I'm telling you to kind of parse this out, like, take this in increments, if you will, right? Because you're saying as a fact that Philadelphia is never going to win a title. I can't meet you there. I can't just go along with you and say they're never going to win. They made this move. You have a core now of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George. You could do worse here. You've already seen what it's like in Philadelphia when you either have James Harden as the third star or no third star. You're not doing anything. So to go for the biggest fish on the market, I mean, is it the most savvy move I've ever seen? No, but you also had all this cap space, so what are you going to use it on?
No, you're
Kentavious
right.
Caldwell-Pope, maybe should have went for someone like that. He ends up going to Orlando to be sort of this 3-and-D guy in a solid part of their rotation on an up-and-coming team.
But think about the recent title teams. Do they remind you of the Sixers? The Sixers remind me more of the Nets getting KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving and hoping it would all work. Or the Clippers getting Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden and hoping it would all work. Just putting together these older superstars, and I really think I'm going to be ageist here. Yep. It's a matter of age. Joel's 30.
But Maxey's not. Maxey's very young.
Yeah, Maxey's young. One player is young. I'm not sure how this all comes together. And listen, even the East, like, do you really trust that trio against a Knicks or like one of the real scrappy, gutty teams? I'm not sure Paul George is the Paul George we know. He's still a good offensive player, but is he the elite defensive player he once was?
Well,
and is he going to get better
Embiid's
or worse?
a very good defensive player, and Maxey's a good defensive player. So,
Maxey?
Yeah.
Wait, in what sense is Maxey a good defensive player?
Well, I guess you're going to need him to step up a little bit more. But you know what I'm saying? You have Embiid, who won an MVP for a reason, Perloff, and that's because he does it on both ends of the floor. When he's healthy, he's a great offensive player, and Embiid is a very good defensive player.
Yeah, okay. I like everything you're saying, and I want the Sixers to win a title.
Yeah.
I just have this deep feeling that something's going to go bad, and for good reason, and mostly because Paul George is 34 and Joel Embiid 30. I can't believe he's 30 now, and that body has taken so much wear and tear, and he doesn't seem to be like LeBron spending $1 million a year on his health in the offseason.
About 30,000.
I'm honestly very, very cynical. I agree with everything you said. It's a good point. It was the move they had to make now. They had all the salary cap space, and why not? I mean, what's your better option? Play Kelly Oubre 40 minutes a game. I just think they'd be very nervous. I think about all these teams who are looking at old superstars like Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think Klay Thompson is right now? What do you think Steph Curry is right now? What do you think LeBron James is right now? Just depending on these old guys, sounds good in the offseason, but in reality, is it a way to win a title in the NBA?
Well, I think that you will have teams, whether it's delusional or whether it's, just your best intentions, trying to rip off another title with these guys who have given so much to your team. So that's where you're going to find the Lakers. And we have an update for you on what's going on with LA. The update is thus. LeBron James is willing to take a pay cut. He's willing to take a pay cut to the point of getting the Lakers salary cap to a place where they can offer a full mid-level exception, all this stuff, don't worry about it. But LeBron James is basically willing to take something in the neighborhood of a $30 million pay cut in order to help sign some players. Now, one of the players that had been rumored already is off the table, and that was Jonas Valanciunas, who was with the New Orleans Pelicans, who now signed with the Washington Wizards. Who
ring chaser.
I didn't see that. You could have given me 30 guesses. I would have never gotten to the Wizards on that one, but sure. So he gets money to go to the Wizards. Did he know that LeBron wanted to play with him, or
honestly, would Jonas Valanciunas make a huge difference for Lakers? Also, James Harden was on that list; he's gone too. So Klay is the only one left on the supposed list. And also note that LeBron has to decide soon.
Yep.
Because people are pointing out he's about to go to the Olympics, and he needs a contract in case he gets injured. So he's got to finish his deal at a reduced rate or the full rate, whatever it is. And now the only person who's left on his list is Klay Thompson. But it seems like that's not so easy, right? There's other strong competitors for Klay.
Well, yeah, Dallas Mavericks being one of them. I was heard this morning that LeBron James was on the phone with Klay Thompson at 6 o'clock Eastern yesterday, trying to convince him to come to the Lakers. So LeBron taking a pay cut for Klay, and then I love this sort of tidbit that was also in the report, and I believe it's Dave McMenamin who had this, right? Which is so LeBron's willing to take a pay cut if they can sign some guys. And if they can't, then he wants the whole thing.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute. What? shouldn't you just take the pay cut and then see what happens? Like, you're willing to do it, but if you can't sign anybody, then now all of a sudden I want every last dollar. It just doesn't feel like that's the logic, right?
Well, there is a logic there. Like, why would he take a pay cut and then they use that extra money on nothing?
Well, maybe you're saving it for the trade deadline. I have no idea. Maybe LeBron should have been taking pay cuts for years to try to get his teams better.
I just remember, do you ever see the movie Good Will Hunting when they're drawing on the board?
Yeah.
That's the NBA salary cap right now. You have to be a Mensa level person to understand what the heck they're talking about. So you say, well, what if he saves the money now that they can sign someone in midseason? There's about 400 details that go into that. So who knows? But at least there is logic there. You're right. It is really funny. I never stopped to think about this. LeBron's like, you better sign Klay or you're going to have to give me $160 million. Wait, what's happening here?
Yeah, right. It's like, all right, we'll sign him.
You already drafted his kid. I mean, what else? Like, you don't owe him anything.
You hired his podcast co-host. You drafted his kid. I mean, it's kind of LeBron James to offer to take a pay cut after all that.
I'll tell you one thing. Klay Thompson also makes the Lakers old. Like, old is not great in the NBA. Like, if you look at championship teams, age seems to be the consistent factor. Teams with guys who are in their prime from 27 to 30 seem to be super dangerous. I just don't know what's happening here with like shuffling around these 30-something guys and giving them $200 million.
It
seems to be the way it
crazy.
is. But I'm having real trouble getting super excited. I will by the fall about Paul George. I just don't know like how great Paul George is moving forward. I just really don't know. Is he anything like the 28-year-old Paul George?
Well, you saw him last year.
Yeah, I mean the Clippers.
Well, I mean they lost in the first round.
Well, Kawhi was out. I mean, if you told me Kawhi Leonard was coming to the Sixers, even with all his injury history, then I could talk championship. I've seen Paul George. I was actually at a Clippers-Knicks game, and he just, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it was the Harden Kawhi-ness of it all, but it just doesn't seem like the same superstar that he was.
Okay, but here's the thing. I know the money's big, but you're not going to be asking him to do nearly what he was doing because you have Embiid and you have Maxey. Am I helping you out here?
Yes, keep telling me. Give me some more reasons to
You have Nick Nurse now. He's better than Doc Rivers.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. He knows how to utilize these pieces.
What else can I give you?
Don't give me a mentor to Maxey. I don't want to hear that.
No. I mean, it's Philly, so something will definitely go sideways. But
thank you.
This is your best option.
I also thought there was this fantasy that they were also going to get KCP and Klay Thompson because they have more money left. So maybe there's another piece.
Yeah, well, KCP's gone.
I know, Orlando. But that's another thing. That all of a sudden, it's funny to me. I came in this morning and said, like, what happened to the Great West? I feel like the Western Conference is now the East looks dangerous. Is that the Sixers are in play, the Magic are in play, the Knicks are in play, and the Celtics are in play, and
don't forget the Bucks.
And maybe.
I mean, we found out that Dame Lillard wasn't even in shape.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he going to exercise this? Is he going to go
Jimmy
jogging?
Butler's still in Miami, so you can never count him fully out.
Right, where right now as we sit,
and the Pacers.
I actually, and I want to talk about this during the show, like where are the Lakers and Warriors? That's sort of on my mind.
Yep.
Are they even in the mix anymore? Are we talking about them?
Let's dive more into the Lakers and Warriors after this at 855-212-4227 because we had to lead with Paul George because that's literally the up-to-date news that happened overnight as he gets the 4-year deal. Perloff 76ers. I noticed you're not wearing any of your Sixers gear, which you will always wear.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because Paul George signed in the middle of the night, and I pull out my outfit the night before.
So
and we're sitting there.
It
was a game of chicken. Like Paul, everyone knows you're going to the Sixers, but he wouldn't do it. What time did it finally happen?
I don't know.
Because our buddy, our former boss, Spike Eskin, does a Sixers podcast and notoriously wants to go to bed early. He was freaking out on social media because Paul George basically didn't sign until the middle of the night. What a jerk.
We will get to the Lakers and the Warriors aspect of this, where you are welcome to weigh in, 855-212-4227. I want to know, can you commend LeBron James for offering to take a pay cut now? A little late. Not exactly Tom Brady's situation here, where you're taking a lot less for all those years. But again, I mean, it's LeBron. Is this like admirable? Meanwhile, if they don't sign anybody, they was taking the whole thing.
I don't think it's admirable. I think it's in his best interest to take a pay cut.
You could have said that for years. 855-212-4227.
Yeah, what a hero. Great guy.
It's the sacrifices.
Got his coach, got his kid. Now he takes a pay cut. What a tremendous human being.
Come on, Pete.
He's trying to buy a franchise,
Yeah.
Pete. You don't get to be a billionaire by taking discounts.
All class.
855-212-4227. We're up. We're live. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet. twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. We'll hit you on Twitter later live. We also have some big news from the weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a certain producer who loves talking NBA offseason who hasn't chimed in yet.
I know. Well, Ryan is here today, and we're so thankful that Ryan was able to jump in last minute. Pete is here. Of course, you heard.
Don't make jump jokes. That's not cool.
I didn't mean to do that. Thank you for, I can't say sliding in. I can't say stepping in.
Okay, now you're pushing it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being available today because we've got some updates for you on the other side. One of our own took a fall. Maggie Perloff, don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Big weekend for the team. Big weekend for Infinity Sports Radio Network. Deion Dawkins, Maggie's left tackle, Buffalo Bills, New Jersey native, had a charity kickball tournament.
Good friends with Zach Gelb.
Good friends with Zach Gelb. They both went to Temple together.
Yeah.
So we've been prepping for weeks. We've had a lot of team meetings. We tried to sign Paul George, but basically we represented. We showed up in New Jersey on Saturday, ready to go. And one person in particular was dressed for success. EJ Stewart, our executive producer, shows up. He's wearing the compression shorts. He, I don't know. He just looked like he was going to dominate the game.
He looks sleek.
Well, how the turntables have...
Exactly. No, EJ looked great. He looked like he was ready to go. I mean, enthusiastic. Everyone was in really good spirits. We go out to this field in New Jersey for this charity kickball game. And unfortunately, in the top of the first inning, because EJ is so all in on everything that he does, including producing the show, and that's just who he is. He's that kind of guy. Decides to steal third base just to set a tone about what kind of hustle we're going to have that whole afternoon, and non-contact injury goes down. He's posted about it on social media, and it's just like a cruel twist of fate because, thankfully he's not in a lot of pain right now, but obviously his day was over, and it really kind of put a cloud on the rest of the over the rest of the tournament because, of course it would. He's our guy, and anything that he needs now, we got him going forward. But it's just such a bummer. Like, bummer is not even the right word. It's just it's devastating because you don't want to see someone get hurt like that.
No, it totally sucked. But the reality is, once EJ went down, we had no chance.
No.
Like, competitively, it was bad. I told EJ, I'm like, listen, we're going to be an analytics team. We're not going to steal bases. We want launch angle. We want home runs. But EJ was talking third person. He's like, EJ's stealing bases. I'm like, oh, okay, Ricky Henderson. And he was all about being a five-tool player. He was going to score. Like, we needed EJ on the field, too. Once he got hurt, he was sort of the heart and soul of the team. We just got destroyed every other match.
I mean, why even keep score?
Grow mischievous,
but actually
kill him in the show.
So EJ was hurt, and basically something happened. I don't know. The details are foggy, and I'm sure you'll hear on the Zach Gelb show. Half the team left before the third game. We just left.
What a team.
Yeah.
We just left. So Zach's like, oh, well, we cobbled together a team of strangers and won our third game.
Good for them.
Listen,
I felt terrible. So I never went back on the field because I'm like, I got to sit here with EJ. I want to make sure that he gets enough ice. And like needed someone to go buy an ace bandage for him. And there was just a lot of discussion about how we can get him to a hospital. Thankfully, he didn't need like an ambulance. It wasn't that acute. It was very acute. But it wasn't like he was in such excruciating pain that we just had to like get him into an emergency situation. But it was bad. He definitely could not put weight on it.
Yeah.
And so then we just sort of waited around for like you guys to finish two meaningless kickball games. And then we got him back to the city.
Yeah.
We're like 40 miles away from his home. He didn't want to go to some random hospital in the middle of the state of New Jersey.
Right. I think EJ did a smart thing. You don't want to go to a hospital away from your home because once you're sort of starting your treatment as soon as you get to the hospital. So he doesn't want to come out to Jersey every time to look at his knee.
Yep.
I hope he's fine. Maybe it's not going to be as bad as we think. But listen, the other thing too, I'll be honest, even with EJ, we were going to get killed in kickball. We were not
Why
built.
were we so bad?
I don't know.
You couldn't even take your pants off. I saw that video.
Well, I had these tearaway pants. My Dartmouth basketball tearaway pants, and I don't know what was happening on. Like something over the years, the buttons must have rusted on or something because they were knocking me off. I need the jaws of life to get me out of these tearaway pants.
Yeah, it wasn't as smooth as like you coming off the bench.
And I get out there, I'm like, oh, well, I got the tearaway pants. I'm about to really knock this kickball out of the park. Popped up into short right twice. I was 0 for 2. And at least I didn't pop up. Some people would pop up to the pitcher. A lot of guys would swing and miss. That was crazy.
A kickball?
Yes.
The worst
yes,
is like
I'm telling you, Pete.
You don't have to kick every single one. That was like a common refrain. You can let a ball go by. You don't have to kick every single thing going your way.
Well, I'm going to recount a conversation you had. You came up to me and said, what if I bunt on the first at base?
I was leading off.
Yeah.
No, if you had just sort of hit a dribbler to third base, you could get a double out of it. But everybody tried to hit it far, and everybody popped it up.
It was we're just so horrifically bad at kickball. I just did not see that coming. And then the EJ thing happened. It was just a disaster all the way.
It sounded like boatloads of fun.
I mean,
do you want an entertaining tidbit? You could steal bases, and nobody got caught stealing the entire afternoon on any of the teams except for one person.
How do you get? Wait. How are you stealing? You're rolling the ball.
Yeah.
Is it like, do they have to run after the ball is caught behind
You
home
basically
plate?
have to get picked off to get caught stealing, and only one person in the entire field got picked off. His name is Dave Marinick.
I know EJ got hurt, but he was still safe.
You just made Pete's day.
Oh, my God.
I don't know why, Dave. We're down 6-1, and Dave's like, I got this base. It just takes off. Takes off, and the pitcher's just staring at him as he takes off.
Tell Pete more. This is like his porn.
My goodness.
But also, you don't have to tag somebody. You just have to hit them.
Right.
Like that's the rules in kickball. It's not
It was
softball,
very hard to get. Only one person the whole day got caught stealing. That was our good buddy Dave. We weren't well coached. We weren't organized necessarily.
Who was the coach?
Okay.
No, we weren't coached.
We lost Maggie early on, but she was helping with EJ.
Motherly instincts kicked in.
By the way,
Had to.
Yeah.
once EJ got hurt, I was afraid to do anything. So basically, I was catcher.
I would have been afraid to do anything signing a waiver.
Well, I didn't even think about that. You did have to sign a waiver. That nothing ever crossed my mind. I just never thought anybody was going to get hurt.
Anybody ever think before they sign any waiver anywhere?
Yes,
Like
I do.
you do?
course you
Like
do.
you bring your kids to a bouncy house or something, you just immediately sign the waiver, and meanwhile they land on their neck. What are you supposed to do? You just
This is a
sign
little
these.
more direct. I think you're a little more. It's like a little more of your control.
Wait, Pete, when you get something online, it has a gigantic list of rules and regulations.
terms and conditions.
Yeah, and you have to check
obviously,
it.
we all do.
Okay.
We all do. This, I think I would have been like, all right, maybe I wouldn't have stolen a base. Maybe I don't bunt. Maybe I'll just powder puff the whole day.
Well, it kind of was
You would have
that.
fit in well on our team.
Well, yeah, it kind of was that.
We could have used you.
We were hurting for some potties after EJ, and it was just
Everyone left. How did everyone leave?
Well,
That's pretty bad.
In fairness, we had to get Perloff and Rob to the train, so
I'll tell you
Rob
why.
from sales
Because there was
came
a
out.
3:00 train and there was a 3:48 train. I don't care if it was Game 7 of the World Series. I was making that 3:00 train.
and we almost missed it because I had to hang around for 1 second to get a selfie with Deion Dawkins.
Fair.
Once I knew that EJ was taken care of, then I could ask for the selfie.
Yeah. Well, I think you were going to go for it anyway.
Maybe that's true, but I would have not let EJ seen it if I knew that he wasn't getting.
I said something stupid. I said, well, EJ, at least you're going to get a cool selfie with you and Deion Dawkins. And there's a picture of EJ explaining his knee injury to an NFL player. That's a best. This is all terrible, but at least that's a photo we can look back on fondly. Not fondly, but at least you got Deion Dawkins there. Without that, there would have been nothing positive about this whole thing.
well, yeah.
To be fair, Deion was very concerned. He was said he would take care of EJ. We all witnessed it. He was definitely involved. So kudos to Deion Dawkins on that. And I thought Bogusch actually had you chimed in on the text thread, and you had a great point, which is EJ had this trip of a lifetime planned with Andrea, his girlfriend at the time, to go to London and go to Paris and go to Switzerland. First time out of the country for EJ. And he ended up proposing to Andrea in London, like fairy tale, storybook stuff. And thankfully that happened before this devastating knee injury. Because that would have been awful.
Thankfully, it wasn't 2 weeks before the wedding.
Or
too.
that, right.
I mean, I've seen stories of guys limping down the aisle.
Oh, my husband had to get his foot shot up with a painkiller because he hurt his foot in a pickup basketball game at someone else's bachelor party 4 days before our wedding. Yeah.
Wow.
Thankfully, we had an anesthesiologist in the wedding party. So.
As a bride, how would you have thought about that if he...
I was like, you're getting down the aisle.
Have you been on crutches?
Ditch him.
Paul Pierce-esque in the wheelchair.
Yeah, no.
So could he dance, like do the first dance and all that?
Yeah, I mean, the painkillers were a big part of it. MVP of the wedding.
So he's super high on painkillers for the whole wedding night?
It just shot up the foot.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely.
You boot
Tore it
on
all.
or-
No.
Okay.
I was like, you're getting in a shoe, too. We'll figure out everything else after the fact.
Yeah. You can see, actually, if you look back at the wedding photos, there's a small grimace on Andy's face.
The tear streaming down his eye was not because of tears of joy.
Tears of joy. His tears
foot
of...
was bloody.
He's like Ronnie Lott showing up for the wedding.
What's that bucket? Oh, it's a bucket of tears.
Yeah. It wasn't an NFL game. It was a wedding. It was supposed to be fun, Maggie. You had your husband shot up to walk down the aisle?
Get in that shoe.
Oh, man.
Now,
I'm
could you
just
tell
kidding.
that he had two different size shoes on because the one was for the swelling, like a 10 and a 12?
Wow, no, because everybody,
like
everyone was
Cinderella,
focused
just
on
get in.
everyone was focused on those giant feet under that wedding dress. Did your wedding dress go low enough to
Had
cover
to.
the size
To the
9s,
ground.
Maggie?
My
like,
feet,
wow.
My feet got to the altar
Yeah,
3
yeah.
steps before I did.
It's like,
My gigantic feet.
okay,
Oh,
we
it's a
got
Krusty the Clown thing.
Yeah. You got
So it was the circus music when I was walking down the aisle was a little much.
maybe if you needed a bigger shoe, maybe you could borrow one of your shoes.
I think Deion Dawkins and I wear the same size.
Basically, you needed a wider aisle that day to get so you didn't step on people's.
I had to go down sideways. Sachet.
Oh, they're dancing down the aisle. No, they're just trying not to step on people.
Oh, man. Yep. That was me going down the aisle. Anyway, today's about EJ, and we're sending him all of our best vibes and thoughts because he'll get this behind him. He'll be on the road to recovery. It's all going to work out. But for now, it just sort of stinks.
This crap is crap.
Well, yeah. No, EJ's probably sitting there right now studying the Orlando Magic's depth chart and thinking about the Knicks and not even his knee.
Yeah.
I guarantee that.
Those tweets were coming last night.
Oh, yeah.
What else is he going to do?
The knee is a big thing, Maggie. The Knicks offseason, much bigger to him.
No doubt.
That's a fact, and we all know it.
Let's get to some headlines with Andrew Bogusch this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It's all sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. The Knicks used to be the second best team in the Eastern Conference. EJ used to have 2 working knees. Things can change quickly. The Sixers may be jumping New York for the spot behind the Celtics by adding Paul George to Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and not Doc Rivers as head coach. George leaving LA for a 4-year, $212 million deal after months of failed talks with those Clippers, who do still have James Harden. He's reportedly staying for 2 years and $70 million with that second year being a player option. Klay Thompson expected to meet with the Lakers, maybe the Clippers, the Mavs, maybe the Sixers after his Golden State divorce over the weekend. LeBron, as Maggie has mentioned, apparently called Klay as soon as allowed yesterday. The Nuggets losing guard Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the Magic for $66 million over 3 seasons. And Chris Paul signing on with the Spurs to play with Wemby. The Warriors waiving CP3 yesterday instead of paying him $30 million. His deal in San Antonio is worth $11 million. We also had a head coach hire yesterday with the Pistons settling on former Cavs boss J.B. Bickerstaff. Mired in a 6-game skid, this is exactly what the Texas Rangers needed.
Here comes Crook. A swing and a drive deep down the line and left. It's hooking at the foul pole. That ball is history. Ryan Langford has hit for the cycle. It's a 3-run Jimmy Jack to finish it off. And the Rangers lead 11-2.
As heard on Rangers radio, Wyatt Langford's 8th-inning homer capping off the first cycle in the majors this season. It's his first career 4-hit game Texas breaking out of that slump with the 11-2 win at Camden Yards. Orioles shortstop Gunnar Henderson is the first commitment to the home run derby later this month in Arlington. The event getting another. Is that for Gunnar Henderson or the home run derby?
For Gunnar Henderson.
Okay.
Another guy that's going to lose his stroke to a home run derby.
The event getting another tweak. 8 men will swing in round 1, the top 4 advancing. Then they'll be seeded 1 through 4 for the semis. The timing of each round is also changing, so it is less taxing on batters and maybe not hurting them or knocking them off their normal performance levels. Much to Pete's chagrins. There is also hockey free agency. The Lightning expected to reach a 7-year agreement with winger Jake Gensel, who's negotiating rights they traded for over the weekend because he could not come to terms long-term with Carolina. Mexico is out of Copa America, finishing 3rd in its group with last night's scoreless draw with Ecuador. The U.S. plays for its life tonight in KC against Uruguay. Uruguay head coach Marcelo Bielsa suspended for the match because his team was late taking the field in its previous match. He is the 4th coach suspended for that reason in this event, which is roughly 11 days old.
Wait, is this like a Scotty Scheffler situation? Yeah. Sorry, did he get pulled over? Why were they late?
No. So apparently, I don't know if this is a long-term soccer issue, but the group running this event has made timing issues very important. And if you don't follow the schedule, you get a warning and then you get suspended. So the second time they were late getting on the field, like for introductions and national anthems, he gets suspended for a game. And this is the 4th coach it's happened to.
Jeez.
It was the game the other night where both coaches in the same game were suspended because of the previous game they were late to the field.
Yeah, maybe hold off on that rule.
Maybe hold off on being upset by everything.
No, but that's ridiculous.
Is it?
How can you not get to the field on time? What, you got something else?
Pep talks.
Checking your phone?
Last minute pep talks.
In the bathroom? What could possibly keep the team?
That's happened to many an athlete. I don't know.
Yeah, chit chat. Last minute, kick into the goal. Last minute instructions, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, last minute, get in the goal.
Yeah.
There we go. Go team.
Don't tear your patella tendons running into bases.
Oh.
It's 6:36 Eastern Time Monday morning. Pete's already been upset about Gunnar Henderson and the coaching process.
Maybe there's a better punishment than suspending the coach. Maybe have
maybe they should be on time. I thought you were here for accountability.
Accountability is
and
fine,
responsibility.
But this is a little excessive, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Back to back, being late 2 times in 1 week is kind of bad.
It's a you problem.
Oh, I know what this is. We got a lot of time card issues around this place now. Nobody wants to look at the clock.
No, but I'm just saying.
Nobody say when I show up. Nobody say when I leave.
Do you think
there's flexibility with that? We're on the air.
Do you think in the league championship series there's gonna be a punishment for Bruce Bochy if he?
Bruce Bochy does no wrong. Bad example.
If they didn't take the field within 2 seconds of the time.
I don't know. If you mess up anything with the corporate partners and commercial breaks, I bet Rob Manfred would probably have you deported.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. But
don't
that's
mess
ridiculous.
with the money.
It's just
ridiculous.
Stupid. Back to you.
Can I float a theory, by the way? I just had a theory as you were. How about Chris Paul taking over for Greg Popovich in San Antonio? He's 39. I mean, this can't be about his basketball skills. So he's there as a mentor, right?
Yeah, which is funny because I know what Chris Paul did with OKC, right? He was a big mentor for that team and kind of, got everyone the right way. But for as many people love Chris Paul and think that he's great, there's a lot of people who think he's like an agitator.
He's the single most hated player in the NBA.
Yes.
Thank you. So
he wins that award every year. So, but still, he's clearly got, he's a winner. He knows the game.
Is he a winner? He hasn't won.
I mean, he's a winner and he's been on a lot of winning teams. So probably one of the highest winning percentages regular season of any player in the league.
I think he'd be good for Wemby and for that team. I just know that it's just funny to me where it's like, all right, it's almost like Jimmy Butler. It's like, is he like a no doubt slam dunk? Absolutely, he's going to be a great mentor, or does he also rub people the wrong way and can kind of be this like sort of I don't know, bully on the team? No.
Yeah, but I feel like he's a guy whose mental skills are way bigger than his physical skills because he's too short to be playing anyway. And now he's 39, he's still out there. He must be a basketball genius. That's my only thinking, right?
And he was coming off the bench, so is he still going to be doing
that?
But
you say he's not a winner. You know how many times that guy's been in the playoffs? I know he hasn't won the title, but he still is.
He's never even been to the finals. Has he even been to the Western Conference Finals?
He's really good at winning without actually winning the things that matter.
Wait, didn't he went to the finals with Phoenix?
Oh, right. He was on that final team.
And he was up 2-0, and everyone's like, oh, Chris Paul is finally going to get his ring.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'm sorry. I forgot about Phoenix.
Yeah, easy to forget. I mean, because he was 36 at the time. Anyway.
He's been to the Wizards, the Golden State, and now San Antonio since then.
Doesn't he feel like a player coach? Like, I feel like this could happen because we were talking earlier, like what's the future of Wemby to me is one of the most interesting subplots of this team. Clippers, you saying the Clippers have no plan. Maybe in 4 years they clear out everybody and they draw Wemby to LA. I don't know. That's how the NBA is not about what move happens now. It's about what happens next. So I'm not sure why Chris Paul is going to San Antonio or why they want him. But
wait, I'm sorry. Is the theory Chris Paul is like a mole for the Clippers, the team he spent most of his life with?
No, I feel like I don't
try to get Wemby at some point to come to LA.
No. That's not there. I think the Clippers made these moves where they didn't want to do a fourth year for Paul George because they wanted to eventually clear out their salary cap so they can get a real superstar in LA, maybe be the new Lakers. I think with San Antonio, the only way I understand this is Chris Paul. Like, how about him as we're all wondering, will it be Becky Hammond? Will it be one of the San Antonio Spurs assistants? I think Chris Paul will be a great coach in San Antonio. Just make it happen. What do you think?
I mean, Popovich has got like one of the most robust coaching trees all around the league, and all of a sudden it's going to be Chris Paul's going to step in. I mean, sure.
Yeah, no, I know. It doesn't make any sense.
JJ Redick's the coach of the Lakers. I mean, the world's upside down.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, JJ Redick would have been a good successor to Greg Popovich. They're both kind of insufferable.
Big wine drinkers.
Yeah, huge wine drinkers. Right, exactly.
So fans,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Fans got to drink watching these teams.
All right, they should be handing the wine out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe this is great for Chris Paul and with Wemby. I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, I know. I feel exactly the same way. Like, okay, this can't hurt. I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone's even talking about this move. Like, oh, Chris Paul's not getting $30 million with the Warriors. I don't know. He's an all NBA player for Hall of Famer. Anyway.
He's got to play too, right? Because they don't still have a point guard.
Yeah, I know.
So he can mentor all he wants, but he's actually has to play the position for them this year. He's
also,
going to start.
$11 million is not nothing. I know the NBA is insane with the salaries, but still.
Yeah, it feels like nothing, though.
It's a drop. It's weird that $11 million is a drop in the bucket.
Yep.
And the other thing, too, isn't the NBA salary cap going to jump in the next couple of years
Yes.
because of these giant TV deals? So, yeah, $11 million is a bargain. Man, I wish I was better at basketball.
Just as your friend, I wish the same.
Yeah.
I can't even get the pants off.
Yeah. If I had that JJ Redick money, we would have been able to buy uniforms on Saturday for our kickball tournament. Everything would be different.
We all got bandanas.
Yeah.
There we go. And we got a man down.
We all got bandanas, but ours was red, and we were advised not to wear the bandanas for obvious reasons.
Yeah, we look like the most loser branch of the Crips ever.
Yeah.
Like the rejects is what we kind of look like.
Oh,
anyway, 855-212-4227. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, what's Caitlin Clark up to? We'll tell you how she almost made history yesterday.
You're in a 5-minute break.
In the heart of the game, under the bright lights, EJ stood ready, aiming for new heights. But fate took a turn on that somber play, left us all speechless, nothing to say. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence, the crowd's hush, dreams on hold. Cheers now freeze, hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Once danced on the field, now a quiet rest. Each stride a memory, we thought you the best. The journey's paused, the spirit feels heavy. Oh, how we miss you, strong and steady, chasing. Oh, it has left us in the silence. The crowds hush, dreams on hold, the cheers now freeze. Hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more for you? Healing whispers in the morning dew. We stand by you in highs and lows, waiting for the day you rise and glow. We chase me, all it has left us in the silence. The crowds hush, dreams on hold, the cheers now freeze. Hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more for you? Healing whispers in the morning dew. We stand by you in highs and lows, waiting for the day you rise and glow. Ages need the story untold in every heart. Your courage holds through the pain, through the strife. We'll wait for the day you spring back to life.
Speaks of pyramids and secrets where the old gods dwell. First it's just giants, ancient and grand, that come the aliens with plans for the land. Oh, Peter Bellani, hold on tight. Each game unveils a stranger sight, from ancient relics beneath the turf to cosmic plots that question Earth. Rogers, whispers of a league on the moon, hiding craters under a starlit monsoon. Claims of playbooks written in celestial script, decoded by seers in a cryptic crypt. Now it's not just aliens, it's time-traveling fans watching games that are part of the universe's plans. Interdimensional gates at the 50-yard line, where players and phantoms uniquely intertwine.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
What's up with Caitlin Clark?
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. What's up with Caitlin Clark? Nearly making history yesterday, Perloff. It was a win for the Fever in Phoenix. They beat the Mercury 88-82, but Caitlin Clark, 39 minutes, 15 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds. 1 rebound short of a triple-double. No rookie in WNBA history has ever had a triple-double, which I was really surprised to find out. And so she would have made history. She was so close. This is the first team that had a over 500 record that the Fever have beaten so far this year, and now they are in the final playoff spot. So we still got a long way to go in the WNBA season, but Fever would be a playoff team if the season ended today.
Nice. So, yeah, what does it mean? It's interesting. It sounds like Diana Taurasi's like, oh, well, this proves that she's arrived or something. Like, what does it mean here? Break it down for me. This is kind of what we expected. 15 points is not Iowa.
2 for
Caitlin
10
Clark.
from 3, so it's a little rough shooting from that situation. But
I feel like she's kind of what we should have expected. Like, it's up and down, and that's great. I do worry. I still worry, and I sound nervous. The hype machine around her has been very confusing in the sense that, like, I have this social media feed that I get hit with Caitlin Clark 40 times a day.
Okay.
And it's not because of her play. So even when she plays well, I feel like there's always a controversy around the corner with her. Why? What is that feeling?
You know, it's interesting because I'm kind of getting the opposite. I feel like things have cooled off a little bit.
Like normalize a little bit?
Maybe.
And maybe focusing on her play and not all the controversy, whatever it was?
I think that some of the other part of this, which was, some of it was sports, some of it was not sports. And I think some of the not sports stuff, which has been on the political talk shows and, these sort of CNN, MSNBC, Fox News situation, I think that sort of cooled off because now we've got a presidential, race, and now we're 4 months until the election. So I imagine that, it'd have to be pretty big for Caitlin Clark now to break into that news cycle. But I also think things have just calmed. Like, let's hear from Diana Taurasi. This is, so Taurasi obviously playing for the Phoenix Mercury, an incredible player. Here's what she had to say last night about Caitlin Clark.
What Caitlin's been able to do in her short career so far has just been nothing short of remarkable. And, the one thing that I really love about her, she loves the game. You can tell she's put the work in. And even, throughout, her short WNBA career, it's been a lot of pressure, a lot of things thrown at her. And, she keeps showing up and keeps getting better every single game. So her future is super bright. And, being a veteran and being in this league for a long, long time, it's pretty cool to see that and, going into the future.
Yeah, so one thing, there was the political weaponization and all that. You're right. That was ancient history. It's like 2.5 weeks ago when it's on the news. But this idea that the veterans were not embracing her, I think that...
Listen to that soundbite.
Right,
There's
right.
no bad blood here, guys.
That's important. And also, too, I think you might have said this, it's a matter of time, too. Any rookie gets into a league, there's always a growing pain. And I think what Caitlin Clark went through is probably more normal than we think.
Definitely. And also, I think it's starting to even out. Like I said, I feel like it's starting to cool off a little bit.
Right. Like the veterans are okay. And like all that energy that, she's getting too much attention, feels like, I agree with you. I feel like everyone around the league is like, okay, Caitlin Clark's here. She's a good player. Let's go.
I think so. Or at least maybe I'm hoping so a little bit until like the next, Kennedy Carter thing or something's around the corner.
Good point.
But, that's also a specific rivalry that comes from college that she's had with Angel Reese. And obviously we know, and even the last game they played against each other was a great game, but no fireworks between Caitlin and Angel. This is like the other part of this here. I think Caitlin making the playoffs does so much. You and I might disagree about this. Like, she's got to be playing in some more meaningful games. Yesterday felt pretty big because Phoenix has so many stars on their team with Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, and there's just a lot of star power there. And she was really good, especially in the third quarter as a facilitator. She finished with 12 assists, 6 turnovers, but the 12 assists, I mean, she was really... It just has taken on this point guard responsibility, and she's getting better. So
I'm like, the first round of the playoffs is a 3-game series, I think. So does that do as much as you think? If they have a losing record, they're 8-12 now, and make the 8th seed and have a 3-game series. The one thing I will say, and this is a lofty praise, Michael Jordan had a famous 3-game series against the Celtics. Like, you could make some noise in a 3-game series. He lost, but he scored 63.
Yeah, right. Very good point. I mean, she'll be Rookie of the Year if things are trending this way and continue. So she's going to be Rookie of the Year and making the playoffs in your first year. I think history is going to look kindly back on that.
Well, I think you have to have a winning record for history to look kindly on that. I mean, if they're 8-12 now and they happen to be in the playoffs, I don't know if that's so hot, right?
Listen, and I still think that it's crazy that she's not on the Olympic team. I still think that's a missed opportunity. We'll see whether or not she ends up being like a last minute addition or whatever as an alternate. But, you can already see, like, I'm curious to see what the rating is for yesterday's game. The 2 games against the Chicago Sky broke records, like one and then the other. And, she's doing it. There's no reason to keep her off that team, but that's just me. So that will be the next controversy.
But there is a reason. I mean, other players deserve it. I mean, there's the logic of not putting Caitlin Clark on the team was sound. I mean, I'm not saying I agreed with that, but like it wasn't like a crazy basketball decision by any means. You're just saying by marketing and NBC, but that just realize that would have been a marketing decision, not a basketball decision.
See, but I think she's holding her own here now. So, right. It's like, I think the basketball-wise, you actually could have justified it. It's not like she's embarrassing herself out there. And so I think the combination of the two things would have just been...
Right, but you surely don't need her from a basketball standpoint.
Well, need, I don't know.
Isn't one of the top 2 or 3 scorers in the league not on the team too? It's yeah, I mean, come on. It's women's Olympic basketball. They could add you as a 6th man and win this tournament.
Exactly, which is another reason. It's not, another reason why I felt like she should have been on the team. But again, I guess we'll have to save that controversy for another day because things are starting to, mellow out just a little bit around Caitlin. It's become more about the basketball. Hey, today's a huge day, by the way. Did you know that Texas and Oklahoma officially joined the SEC today? Perloff and I will break it down. What does it mean from a football perspective? This long-awaited move finally becomes official today. We've got it from the Texas side. We've got it from the Oklahoma side. Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, if you're not a fan of conference realignment, these next couple months are not going to be for you. It's official today. Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We get back to NBA free agency in a minute, though, Pearl, because this is going to be a monumental day. It's been 3 years in the making. Both conferences had to pay extra money. Both schools, had to pay extra money just to get out of their deals a year early to make sure this happened for this upcoming season. It obviously set off yet another chain reaction where we're going to get next month on August 1st. That's when the big Pac-12 to the Big Ten moves, Pac-12 to the ACC moves, Pac-12 to the Big 12 moves. Those all become official on August 1st. So today, July 1st, you get Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. And to be honest, for the football side of things, which I think is probably most important to us right now, this is the perfect time for both of these schools to be making this switch. Literally these seasons, especially for Texas, coming off of their college football playoff appearance last year and having Quinn Ewers back, and for Oklahoma, who won 10 games last year. So I think this is probably the best time of the last 10 years or so.
Yeah,
this
both.
is Well, maybe not for Oklahoma. Oklahoma had some really good years, obviously 2017 through 2019, making 3 straight college football playoffs, but not terrible timing here for both of these teams.
Yeah, and I think you could argue SEC football is down. I mean, obviously, Saban being gone. Georgia probably, Georgia was not going to keep up that level of.
I'm not betting against them.
You can't put 11 players into the first round of the NFL draft 5 years in a row. I
think you can.
Well,
we'll see.
They certainly fell off last year. They were obviously not the same team. I know they lost that game to Alabama, but even before that, they didn't quite look as dominant. Honestly, the reality is college football dynasties come and go real fast. That's the reason you don't get three-peats. So, no, I think it's going to be a really interesting year. Now, Texas, obviously, they're the problem with Texas, they're kind of a title or bust area now. So, you know how expectations get for the Texas Longhorns. Even when they were bad, everyone's like, oh, you better win big time. So, you say it's a perfect time, but to me, you're in a way setting up for a bigger fall, which it makes me nervous as a Sark fan. The Longhorns have a lot of pressure on here, much less so than the Sooners. This better go well, or I think they'll get killed.
Really?
Texas.
You have Quinn Ewers coming back, though. You've got Arch Manning, sitting right behind him.
Right, so you better make the playoff this year.
Is that in doubt? You got 12 teams this year. You don't think that Texas could be one of them with Quinn Ewers, who could be?
Of course they could, but what if it
quarterback?
But you're saying you're so confident this is a done deal that Texas is going to make it. They did lose their receivers.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I kind of do. So in terms of schedule, if you're going Texas versus Oklahoma, just the two teams who are joining, obviously their rivalry is massive. Maybe one of the best, if not the best, in college football. But if you're talking about tough games that both have on the schedule, Oklahoma's schedule is, to me, way harder than Texas. Now, Texas has to go to Michigan. That's week 2. But again, Jim Harbaugh is gone. They're coming off of a title. Who knows if there's a bit of a hangover there. They do have to play Georgia, but that's at home, at Arkansas, at A&M, as opposed to Oklahoma, who has to go at Auburn. They have to go to Ole Miss. They have to go to Mizzou, which is a sneaky hard place to play. They play Alabama, and they have to go at LSU. So I think Oklahoma comes in with a much tougher schedule right out of the gate. There are wins here for Texas.
Yeah, there definitely wins, but I mean, Michigan and Georgia.
I know, but what's Michigan going to be? I mean, talk about guys you lost to the NFL over the last 2 years.
I don't know. It still seems like a challenging game. Early season, you never know. I think if you get 2 losses in Texas, all of a sudden you're in trouble. That's the problem.
Yeah, but they lost last year to Oklahoma, and they were able to rebound really well.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm just saying the bar is, we'll see. Anyway, no, you're right. Looks really good. I think the U.S. thing is interesting too, because you got, as you mentioned, Arch behind him. What if that is a little unstable? I feel like there's more volatility with Texas. Like Oklahoma, nobody cares if they make the Final Four, right, or the Final 12, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them. You're right, that schedule is hard, but they lost their offensive coordinator, right, who took over Mississippi State. So I don't know. I just feel like Texas is like in a much more precarious situation here. Now that they're in the SEC, they're very visible.
Yeah.
And
well, it's Texas. I mean, they're always of a big target.
Don't you think that they're even more of a target now, or maybe I'm misreading this situation? I feel like there's going to be a lot of attention on the Longhorns.
Well, and they're coming off of this great season, the first time they ever made the college football playoff. Meanwhile, Oklahoma was basically a mainstay in the college football playoff for a while. 4 college football playoff appearances. That's 4th behind Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. Like, they've been really successful in this era. But ever since Lincoln Riley left, now it's up to Brent Venables, and he's going to have to really build a defense here. I mean, that's going to be the biggest thing for Oklahoma. You go to the SEC, like, you don't have a defense. You're going to get absolutely slaughtered. And so this has got to be the challenge for him. Ryan, I'm wondering if we can put this up as a poll question, please, at Maggie and Pearl on X. Who's going to have the tougher adjustment to the SEC? Is it Texas? Is it Oklahoma?
Sure.
They joined the SEC today.
I'll tell you right now, though, Texas has a lot more to lose here. What does Oklahoma have to lose?
I mean, Oklahoma is one of the blue blood programs of college football. And so is Texas, but Oklahoma is, 7 Heisman Trophy winners? I mean, the history of Oklahoma is long and it's proud. Yeah,
but Texas is super sexy right now. Oklahoma is not. I know Jackson Arnold's finally going to play, but I mean, come on. You know what I mean, right? Like Oklahoma can go under the radar here. I feel like if they're
under the radar, I don't know if that's possible for Oklahoma.
Big time. You don't think if they're 8-4 this year, everyone's going to be, that's a nice season for Brent Venables.
Well, they had 10 wins last year, so I don't know if people are going to say that.
I think they will.
You think so?
Yeah.
I just went through the schedule. It is very tough.
Yeah, no, I mean, Texas is big time. Like they really. I think Texas has way more to lose. If you put the poll, who has more to lose going into the SEC, that's a different poll question, right?
Okay, why don't we flip it up then? We can switch that.
But it'd be interesting to me, too. Like, what is Texas in the SEC? Are they like an average SEC game? Is it going to be a different animal than playing in the Big 12? Like, let's look at their schedule. For example, like Arkansas, like going to Arkansas, that's a different conference game than the Big 12, like going to Kansas.
Sure.
So I'm very curious, like how do they do in the average SEC game? That's what I'm most curious to see. Just a totally new, because we've seen like Nebraska went from what is now the Big 12 to the Big 10, and just like they couldn't win those average conference games.
Right.
So that's what I think is a real challenge for Texas and Oklahoma. What if they're not the teams we think they are?
Interesting, because we've seen Texas have signature wins against Alabama. We've seen that happen recently, but you're right. What is it like? And this is going to be the step up in weight class for sure. And then here's the other part, this rivalry. This rivalry doesn't go anywhere. So Oklahoma and Texas, and this is one that, quite frankly, Oklahoma has been dominant. They've won 5 of the last 6. They've won 7 of the last 9. I mean, that's going to be a big part of this also. For Oklahoma side, you got to keep winning this game. Like, that is very important. And on the Texas side, get back into this rivalry a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I assume, we don't know where Texas will be a big favorite this year, I would hope. What is Texas like? Almost the preseason, Texas 2 or 3, and Oklahoma is like 16 or 17?
Are you going to be at this game? We talked about this a little bit.
I think I'm going to miss this game, actually.
So Perloff is driving to San Antonio, as you may have heard, to pay off a show bet where he has to apologize to Victor Wembanyama for calling him Wembust-Yama. Wembanyama went on to win Rookie of the Year in unanimous voting. So you were a little wrong on that one. So you've got to drive to San Antonio to apologize. And we thought there could be a route that gets you through the Texas State Fair and gets you to this Red River rivalry to watch Texas-Oklahoma?
Well, here's a great question. October 12th, Texas-Oklahoma in Dallas. Or would I rather go to Georgia at Texas the following weekend in Austin?
That could be cool.
You think?
Well,
so
you can't lose.
Which one should I do? Which is better?
I mean, I'd probably go to the Red River rivalry just because of how historic it is. But Georgia, Texas is also cool. It's not a bad consolation prize if that's how it works out with your schedule.
I think it's arguably the best game of the entire season on the entire schedule. Isn't it? I mean, because also Austin is amazing.
Yeah.
I think.
But you get fried butter at the Texas State Fair, and goodness knows what else they're frying up down there.
I think Austin City Limits is right around there. The music festival. So I have to be honest. I'm tempted by, okay, I will miss Austin City Limits by one weekend. There's a lot of choices here. Are you going to come down if it's a Red River rivalry?
I will come. I said I would fly and meet you. I'm definitely not doing the road trip.
Oh, okay.
I can't sit in the car that long.
Yeah, it's a tough call. There's a lot going on that trip. It's funny. I am very tempted, to be honest, to see Georgia because Georgia's, I assume, number one by a mile coming into this year. That'd be cool. Like this could be a battle this could be the future title preview where I don't see Oklahoma, Texas as that. So you're going to have to sell me on this Red River rivalry. And I have trouble saying it too.
Well, maybe that's it. Okay, Ryan, do we put out the poll question? Who's got more to lose?
I'll pull up the question, who has more to lose?
Okay.
Texas or Oklahoma?
There you go. So you can go to @Maggie and Pearl and you can go vote because this is a historic day. Texas and Oklahoma officially go to the SEC.
Man, I got to tell you, I cannot wait to see that volleyball and all those other sports.
You kid.
Yeah, no. It's that's the funny thing about conference realignment. You forget that all these sports have to go, which is going to be a big nightmare for the new Big Ten.
We could do a little, do you know where they're going to be? Like a conference realignment pop quiz.
Well, it's either Big Ten or the SEC, right?
Do you know where Arizona and Arizona State are going next year? I mean, August 1st.
Big 12?
They are going to the Big 12. You got it.
Well, that's, yeah.
Do you know where SMU is playing next year?
SMU they're not Big 12? Oh, ACC.
Yeah,
ACC,
they're
right.
going to the ACC.
Yeah, there's another funny ACC team. Where's
Stanford and Cal.
Where's Utah again?
Utah
they're in the Big 12.
will be in the Big 12.
That's a weird one.
And the Pac-12 will no longer have a championship game, even though right now
There's
you
two.
still have Washington State and Oregon State.
Yes. Is this going to be, and actually when you think about it, pulling back here, Oklahoma and Texas in the SEC, this could be fun as a viewer, right? I know people complain about conference realignment, it kills rivalries, but I got to be honest, like Oklahoma, LSU, I want to see this.
Are you as excited for Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC as you are for USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington all join the Big Ten?
Much more into the Big Ten.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it's newer. Like, it's going to be fascinating to watch USC in the Big Ten, right?
I thought Oregon, like watching Oregon in the Big Ten, it's such a difference in styles. Washington, too.
Oregon, I don't know when they go to Iowa. Like, that is bizarre. It feels like Texas has been careening towards the SEC. Like, they played Alabama, you mentioned last year.
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
Geographically, also, it makes some sense. The Big Ten Pac-12 thing, that's weird, right? That's going to get a lot of attention this year.
And it should. And those, I mean, playing Ohio State and Michigan, it's just.
Well, I mean, does USC come to Rutgers anytime soon? I mean, it's just going to be awful. I think that's going to be, I think the geography of that one is going to make a lot of odd matchups.
What are you guys more excited for, Ryan? Is it the Pac-12 schools joining the Big Ten or Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC?
Oklahoma and Texas.
Yeah.
No doubt. Bigger games, bigger intensity.
Yeah. Pete, you got a thought on this?
I agree. Anything with Texas and Oklahoma, I'm watching.
Yeah, but do you guys remember when Nebraska went to the Big Ten? That seemed exciting. Right, like that could happen to Oklahoma. I'm telling you right now. They could easily become the next Nebraska.
I hope not. 855-212-4227. Listen, maybe Nebraska is poised for a big comeback.
Bah!
Second year with Matt Rule. You are welcome to weigh in. Again, this is the historic day. Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC officially. It's one we've known was going to happen for a while, but it's actually going down today.
You're telling me, by the way, you can beat USC going to Minnesota on October 5th or USC at Maryland on October 19th?
Yeah, I think I might be able to.
USC Maryland, I just think the oddity, it's a little more unique. It's going to be next year. I think we're going to pay more attention to the new, like Texas doesn't feel like they've been in the SEC.
No, no, it doesn't. But yeah, give me Oklahoma at LSU.
Yeah, that'll be fun. You're right. All these, it's not good for the sport that they keep realigning, but as viewers, we're going to really watch all this. I mean, I can't wait for this fall.
855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in. You can also vote on the poll. Who has more to lose? Is it Texas or Oklahoma as they join the SEC? We've got a lot more to do here, including the absolute latest up to the minute on the LA Lakers. What is going on with the Lakers and the Warriors, and how are these teams changing now that free agency is open?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining.
In the heart of the game, under the bright lights, EJ stood ready, aiming for new heights. But fate took a turn on that somber play, left us all speechless, nothing to say. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence, the crowd's hush, dreams on hold. The cheers now freeze, hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Once danced on the field, now a quiet rest. Each stride a memory, we thought you the best. The journey's paused, the spirit feels heavy. Oh, how we miss you, strong and steady. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence, the crowd's hush, dreams on hold. The cheers now freeze, hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more for you? Hear the whispers in the morning dew. Stand
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right.
Huey Lewis.
I like this. Little 80s music. Thank you, Peopleati. Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Bogusch is laughing. Don't encourage him, you're saying, with the 80s music?
80s music to us, today's music to Pete.
This is a new single.
Yeah.
Listen, I always said I'm
Back to the Future.
I'm a huge news fan. I'm not so much into Huey Lewis. Just like Pete's into Oates and not Hall.
That's right.
Like Garfunkel.
Oates in the news.
Oates in the
They
news.
should have formed a super band.
Yeah, with Garfunkel. Okay. Can I just, before we dive into our next topic, can I just read to you the latest NBA championship odds from a little app called DraftKings?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Number 1, Boston Celtics plus 295. Makes sense. Guess who moved up to number 2 this morning?
Your Philadelphia 76ers?
They jumped the OKC Thunder, the Denver Nuggets, the Knicks, and the T-Wolves. The Knicks are 5th? Oh, my God. The betting public's out of their mind. Can I short this bet? I don't know how to do this. I'm sorry to be the naysayer, but I just can't celebrate a 34-year-old Paul George for $212 million on a team that has nothing but injuries come every playoff time. I have a reason to be cynical, Maggie, just like you are as a Bills fan. I have every reason to think the other shoe is going to fall.
Well, he's missed over 80 games in the last 3 years, so I can understand why you might think this.
I didn't even know that.
Well, however, I'm a little bit more bullish on it than you are because, first of all, what were the other moves you were making here with all this cap space? And you got to look at it as a 2-year deal. I know it's a 4-year deal for $212 million.
You keep saying that, and I don't understand your logic.
You got to piecemeal this thing.
Yeah, but he's still killing your salary cap year 3 and 4.
Okay, but if you win a title in the next 2 years, which is the reason why I'm saying 2 years, I think Joel Embiid's got about 2 more years left of his prime. This is my eyeball test sort of thing. I don't see him having a great late career. Like, I don't think Joel Embiid's playing for 20 years in the NBA.
What difference is Joel Embiid at 33 than 31? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I agree with that.
Honestly, the decline might become kind of steep for Joel Embiid. You talked
what
about
decline?
it.
The guy's never on the court in the playoffs anyway. Where's he decline? To the couch?
Well, kind of. I mean, that's why I'm thinking that in my mind, you've got 2 years to make this worth with Embiid, either before he declines in a big way or before he wants out of Philadelphia. So I think Daryl Morey also knows he'll probably get fired in 2 years if he hasn't turned in a championship. So go all in now, and just you got to think about that. Think about right now, and the future be damned.
I don't even know, how good Paul George makes the Sixers. What is he? I know he's accomplished. He does seem on paper to fit with Tyrese Maxey at point guard and Joel Embiid at center. But is Paul George, is he an elite defender anymore? I'll answer that. No.
Yeah, no.
And is he
score?
Is he sort of the dead-eye shooter that the Sixers seem to need? Because a lot of attention goes to Embiid in the middle. Maxey drives, and then Paul George presumably will sit out there and hit outside shots. It's funny, in some ways, like Klay Thompson could have fit that role as well. I thought maybe they'd get both of them. I guess that's still in play. But I just don't know that I see the Sixers as a real championship contender. And they're number 2 in odds here.
That's a good sign. The public is all in.
No, it's not. It's like when the Nets were always a number 2 seed, the Brooklyn Nets. Listen, we make the same mistake every offseason. We get excited about these older players switching teams, building these quote-unquote dream teams. And Peter Bellotti will tell you, these dream teams never, ever work.
No, super team, except if it was LeBron and the Heat.
Those guys were young.
Right. The super teams out. Look at that. Like we just said, the Nets. They tried to do it twice, and they still didn't win a championship.
Yeah.
Well, there needs to be a little chemistry. There needs to be a little bit of camaraderie with the skill.
So, it's interesting that Pete brought that up. Joel Embiid was giving Paul George the side eye on live television. Clearly, Embiid is all in on Paul George coming to the team.
Right.
Is this a good chemistry fit? Is this a good personality fit? Paul George, Joel Embiid, do you find this is going to go well?
I would think.
Because Jimmy Butler, I know Embiid and Jimmy Butler love each other now, but that didn't go great.
Honestly, it would not be my ideal in sense. Like, I think somebody needs to be there who's going to light a fire in Joel Embiid, and I don't think that's Paul George.
Okay.
I mean, I think Paul George seems somewhat laid back to me. I mean, I'm not in the locker room with him, but what the Sixers need is somebody who's just a killer. Kind of like Jaylen Brown was for the Celtics this year. They need a leadership. They need a guy who's not going to let them lose in the playoffs. And they had that guy in Jimmy Butler, and they let him walk out the door so they could re-sign Tobias Harris.
Do you wish that Butler was back over
that's
Paul
who I
George?
want. I want Butler. I want Kawhi. I want a killer, an absolute.
But Kawhi's never on the court either.
Okay.
And neither's Jimmy.
I want a
frankly.
healthy Kawhi in my mind, but I just want a championship player. Jimmy is old too. It wouldn't be ideal, but yes, that's the ingredient I'm missing. It's nothing to do with basketball. It's to do with mentality.
So here's another question for you. Are you I know you're already concerned about this Paul George contract. Does it concern you a little more that it seems like your team was the only team that was willing to offer him all this money and years?
Well, I mean, the Clippers were going to do 3 years, and you know for sure what the Magic were going to offer him?
I mean, I guess maybe the Magic could have been there.
Well, I think that was they were definitely there, right? That's a holdup last. That's why it took so long.
Right. So there were 2 teams. We know the Warriors want to trade.
Yeah,
for
but how
him.
many teams? I think there were 4 or 5 teams that we even could dream of fitting him in. Like what else? No, that doesn't mean anything because who else could have possibly afforded this?
Well, I'm just saying, like when it's only 1 or 2 teams who are in on it.
Yeah, but there was no way he was doing the max. He wasn't doing less money. So nobody. Yeah, I mean, a million teams want Paul George, but nobody could. Like who else could have looked at him? Dallas couldn't look at him. Nobody could even come close.
Yeah.
So it was really the Magic, the Sixers, the Clippers, and the Warriors to do a sign and trade, which I don't think was ever going to happen. Here's a question for you. Do you think the Warriors would have offered Kuminga? Do you think that for an sign and trade? Because there was a lot of controversy around that. I think they did not. I think at the end of the day, they're like, nah, we're good.
I don't think they wanted it. And also, I think these 2 teams have a little bit of a rivalry, and I think they didn't want to make it easy for Paul George to just go to the Warriors and rip off another title.
Yeah, that thing about the only teams, like nobody can afford anybody right now. That's why the Sixers are in this great position to get Paul George. But really, that's your prize? I don't know. I'm not as high on this as you are, which is funny because I know you would hate to see the Sixers be elite and me be in here cocky every day.
The Sixers stuff doesn't bother me.
Oh, okay. Phillies?
Phillies a little bit more because you and our teams are rivals, but baseball's so weird. Who the hell knows? And
I feel like the Eagles and the Bills have a lot of common DNA. I feel like the Eagles did win their Super Bowl, but they're kind of like traditional losers. I feel like we can bond over that. I think that's one of the reasons we're friends because you've been suffering as a Bills fan.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of suffering as an Eagles fan. Don't look at me like I'm some all-time winner.
Well, you won. You got back to the Super Bowl. You've been to the Super Bowl 3 times, like in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So, and you won one of them. So no, we're not the same.
You were alive for 4 Super Bowl runs.
Thank you. How'd those turn out? Andrew Bogusch is here. He's got headlines for us beyond Paul George. What's up?
Yeah, just more than 12 hours into NBA free agency, we have breaking NFL news this morning.
What?
Bills O-lineman Deion Dawkins retiring immediately, changing his name and phone number. He's going to live off the grid. He said it's time to disconnect from all responsibilities and liabilities. He'd appreciate all of us never trying to find him
Wait a minute.
for any reason.
No, Deion said he would be there for EJ no matter what EJ needs after he hurt his knee in our charity softball game. Excuse me, kickball.
I keep saying
softball, and it's like it was a kickball game that EJ got hurt in.
That's my fault because I keep saying functionally, kickball is the same as softball. You have to sprint from base to bases, and that's how everybody over 30 that I've ever met gets hurt playing softball because they're like, it's just softball. I'm just going to run to first. But you don't realize when you're about to get thrown out by a kickball, you're sprinting as hard as you can, and humans are not meant to sprint like that anymore. You got to warm up. EJ didn't stretch for a second. I didn't stretch. Nobody stretched.
I was gonna say, I didn't see you out there stretching.
All the young guys just got out there and played kickball like it's not dangerous. And
wait, it's not dangerous.
Oh, you didn't see me stretch?
I didn't.
I did literally 40 minutes of stretching. 40 minutes of stretching. Then I played catcher.
In a kickball game.
Catcher in a kickball game. And even that was a little nerve-wracking.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Was Deion Dawkins' team stealing bases?
He wasn't playing. Or
No.
he kind of floated around a little bit.
We didn't play his team directly.
Oh.
He didn't play?
No, he did.
Did he play a little bit?
Yeah,
but he wasn't
no.
like on a solid team. I thought he kind of floated around.
Was he floating around?
I think he kind of jumped in on a lot of different.
Word is he was pitching a lot.
The question is, where were the other Bills players?
I saw Josh Allen at a wedding, Mexico or somewhere. He was at a wedding with what's her name over the weekend.
Oh, Haley?
Yeah.
You saw Christian McCaffrey got married this weekend.
Stephon Diggs was in Houston, probably.
Well, he's not part of the team anymore.
Who else is on those Bills? I can't even.
I thought we'd get a DeMar Hamlin sighting.
Really?
I feel like this is DeMar's thing now.
I feel like DeMar is pretty famous right now. He's probably like walking the runway in Paris.
And
not one other offensive lineman was there? Nothing? Matt Milano doesn't show up to run some guys over?
I was hoping.
Rehab.
Yeah, he should be in bubble wrap somewhere. They need him. No Von Miller?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, Von Miller.
I'm just saying.
There's a lot to dissect here.
Mitch Morse left, right?
Yeah, he's gone. He's in Jacksonville.
Doesn't mean they're not friends and you can't come to his kickball event.
Right.
I was wondering if he invited anybody.
Well, I got to be honest. It was the end of June, and I see these NFL guys on Instagram. No longer do NFL guys just hang out in New Jersey. They're all like off in exotic places doing amazing things.
True.
Well, I was thinking maybe it was a lot of people are at the McCaffrey wedding. Did you know they got married in Rhode Island?
That's where she's from, I think.
Oh, that makes a little more sense.
Do you think a lot of Buffalo Bills were at the Christian McCaffrey wedding?
I don't know. Just famous people being together. I saw Shane Gillis was there. I'm like, are they all friends, or is that just a famous person gets invited to someone else's wedding?
I assume they're friends. But I saw recently, weren't Justin Jefferson and Joe Burrow doing this tour of France? And
I think that tour's over, though.
I don't think they're hanging out in northern Jersey for kickball tournaments.
Well, their loss. Because we were a lot of fun until EJ got hurt, sadly.
In the first inning. So how much fun did you have?
Well, we were really good in the warm-up.
Those 5 minutes were best.
We showed up. We had smiles on our faces. Everybody was ready, raring to go.
We actually lost the second we walked off the bus, Bogusch. You should have seen there was this other team, the team in black. Oh my God. I was like, are they on PEDs? Why are these guys so athletic? What is going on?
Everyone did look way more athletic.
They were doing group exercises. They were chanting. It was like the bad guys in Karate Kid when we got on. Like we were basically Daniel LaRusso. We had no chance.
So the team was one-legged EJ. You who can't take your pants off.
Can't take my pants off and was so afraid of injury that I was catcher the whole game.
Right. Carlos and Mrs. Carlos.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos
Thank
and
goodness
Mrs. Carlos.
She was there.
Maggie
Mrs. Carlos, by the way, not the greatest defensive positioning.
Okay.
Thankfully, she was an orthopedic nurse.
Yes.
So she could lend a little expertise to EJ's hurt knee.
She was playing third base. She was standing on third base protecting the line. I'm like, I don't think you need to protect the line. But
that's what got EJ in trouble. Someone else was standing on third.
Carlos was in left field, which ironically nobody ever got the ball in left field. Like nobody kicked it to left field.
That's why he was there.
No, he was fine. Dave Marinick was in center. That was a strategic mistake on our part. Zach was in right.
In right? Shouldn't Zach be like the MVP of this?
Right field gets a lot of action.
Okay.
Everyone's right-footed.
Yeah, it's funny. You can't pull a kickball. What? Maggie's husband, you know how Maggie seems competitive?
Yeah.
Maggie's husband was treating this like he was invading Normandy. I'm going to be dead honest. I'm like, I had to tell him to chill.
He was sore the next day.
I had to tell him to chill a couple times. He was like positioning fielders around the field. I'm like, dude, we're down 9-0. I don't think it matters where the shortstop is.
You know, my husband's really good at, in the absence of any kind of leadership, he will step right in. So he's like, you need a pitcher? I'll do it.
A Monopoly game must be warfare in the Gray household.
We haven't played in 10 years. And it's not because of my husband. It's because of his brother. I joined this family, and they're like, hey, just so, like, here's our last name. This is a little about our family history. And by the way, we cannot all play Monopoly because of my brother-in-law.
Yeah. If he didn't paint his face or have black underneath the eyes, but if we played again, Andy would show up with eye black. I guarantee that.
He might need a hobby.
He was incredibly serious for this game. And thank God, he's the only guy who made any plays for our team.
he likes getting out there.
He was like Jerry West. He was the MVP in a losing effort by far. That's fair to say, right?
Yeah, my husband, he's athletic. I told you guys, I'm like, I got Lionel Messi here for you, for our purposes.
All right. Let's,
he played high school soccer, so there you go.
Did he recount his box score to you? I guarantee that, hey, I was 2 for 3.
No, he wouldn't. I said nice job on the triple.
He totally did.
No, he's not like Ice Cube, talking about his triple-double in a pickup game. Like he's actually keeping score.
Will you admit he was overly competitive?
I think he was into it.
Would you say it's fair to say he was the only person into it?
Maybe. I wasn't really.
The other teams were.
I wasn't paying close attention.
Our team couldn't get it together. After EJ got hurt, we crumbled.
Also, Delta pointing out Maggie's surrounded by Andys. Totally
True.
right. Everyone in my life is an Andy.
Yep.
Although he's the only one that, your husband's the only one that accepts Andy, right? I don't like Andy. You don't like Andy.
No one calls me Andy except my mom.
All right.
Wait, but your husband actually doesn't go by Andy really either.
No, he goes by Andrew.
Yeah. And once you become an adult in the professional world, it's hard to go by Andy. People don't take you. Andy Cohen, he makes it work. Andy Pettit made it work.
All
way more serious than us.
Yeah. You need to be a multimillionaire. Yeah, that's true. Andy Pettit and Andy Cohen.
Your argument kind of fell apart there.
No, but then again, do we really take Andy Pettit serious? If he was Andrew Pettit, probably be in the Hall of Fame right now. And if he was Andrew Cohen, would he be really doing the Real Housewives? No. Probably be a senator.
We're selling real estate.
Yeah, that's all that Bravo does.
I've got some real news.
Okay,
if
go
you guys
for it.
want it. The Sixers have won the Paul George sweepstakes, reportedly coming to terms shortly before 4 a.m. Eastern. 4 years, $212 million. LA did re-sign James Harden for 2 years and $70 million, and they add Derek Jones Jr. from Dallas for 3 and $30. Chris Paul, waived by the Warriors, quickly signs a 1-year, $11 million deal with the Spurs. The Magic add Nuggets shooter Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Kevin Love re-signs with the Heat, and Jonas Valanciunas freely signs a 3-year, $30 million deal with the tanking Wizards. You are not supposed to do this often.
1-0 pitch. Fly ball to deep right. Are you kidding me? Another grand slam. Wow. 7-1 Brewers on the 5th grand slam in the last 8 days. You can't make it up.
Bryce Terang hit that one on Brewers radio. Again, the 5th grand slam in 8 games. It fueled a 7-1 win over the Cubs. The Rangers snapped their 6-game skid with an 11-2 win in Baltimore on Sunday Night Baseball. Texas left fielder Wyatt Langford had the first cycle in the majors this season, driving in 4 and scoring 3 times. Simone Biles won the U.S. Olympic gymnastics trials last night in Minneapolis, clinching the lone automatic spot on the Olympic team. The other 4 were picked, including Sunny Lee, the reigning Olympic champion. And do not ask me how it works, but yesterday's NASCAR Cup Series race in Nashville went to 5 overtimes. That's where Joey Logano finally won, which means Tyler Reddick did not. Despite having the faster car at the end of the race, Logano blocked Reddick in turn 4, pushing him back into 3rd place and utter despair.
You did tell me, though, this morning that this team needs to start putting together top 5 finishes, and it needs to start today. You got that. Is there a positive thing you can look at today?
No. All the good cars ran out of fuel, and we were in position to pass 22. Hadn't been good all day long, and you didn't get the job done.
Anything good? Nope. That was Reddick post-race on Fox. Back to you guys.
Well, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
At least he got his knees.
He should do a podcast with wine, like his brother, JJ Reddick.
Wow.
Should have been having wine during the race.
Pine Needles in the chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network said EJ hurt himself and it was not even something that was allowed to be done. So that's the double bummer. No, you could steal. It was allowed. It was just not so much encouraged. But, EJ, you said my husband was the one taking it so seriously. No. EJ tried to steal 3rd, and that's where he ran into trouble.
No, EJ was going to challenge your husband for team MVP. Probably the 2 best players on the team, to be totally fair. We kind of needed EJ. It was also an emotional blow, but a strategic blow. We kind of needed him out there.
So EJ got hurt in the 1st inning?
Top of the 1st.
Yeah. But honestly, he was about to score, too. We probably didn't score another run for about an hour.
You mean the rest of the day? What?
Was he leading off?
No, I led off with an out.
Like batting 2nd or 3rd?
What was EJ up?
So I was supposed to be 2nd, but because of my calf, I said I'll bat last. I wasn't going to bat at all, but I really quickly realized that even on one leg, I was good enough to bat on this team.
I was thinking about it. So Zach also invited 2 friends who were there. I wonder if they feel like they got what they came for. It's like we got somebody goes down in a heap, the top of the 1st inning. And then you guys
it was
lost.
The whole thing was really fun. Kickball is really fun. I mean, it's a good sport as long as you're careful.
Now you tell
And you
us.
have players.
Can we go down just rabbit hole just for a second? So this is a charity event thrown by an NFL player who happens to be friends with Zach Gelb.
Yep.
Zach Gelb is allowed to field an entire team for this event, not just be invited to participate.
Correct.
So Zach Gelb then emails all of us and has a hard time filling an entire roster. Has to bring in his friends at the end to get to the number.
And my husband.
And your husband.
The last edition.
Mm-hmm.
And then EJ's leg falls off. And there's like crickets to help him at this event. And people leave early from the team that Zach Gelb barely handpicked.
Well, that was mostly because of EJ's injury. Because we lost Maggie and we kind of lost Carlos because of the injury. Carlos had to drive EJ back. Maggie was helping out EJ. So it really was because of the injury. If we were healthy, we would all stay for sure.
And still lost.
Probably.
Got killed. Yeah.
We would have been
This
slaughtered.
is some event. It's
you got
Rahway, New Jersey.
I think some of the other teams have been practicing for weeks. Like they had plays. They were really good.
Couldn't we just write a check?
We did that too. We definitely paid for the pleasure of getting our butts kicked. But it's all for a good cause, so we're happy to do it. But it is funny. I think maybe people have an expectation that when you show up from a sports talk radio station, that you're going to be athletic. And that's just not the expectation people should have.
I don't know if people have that expectation. Really?
Maybe.
Were you guys like introduced? Like, was your name listed anywhere? Like, here's who's going to be here, Maggie Gray and Andrew Perloff?
No.
Okay.
No.
Like, did people know they were going to see you when they went to see this?
People saw us and didn't even know who we were. So.
I don't think that mattered.
And you had your jersey on.
Yeah, it didn't matter. No. We were relatively, I got to be honest, we stayed under the radar at this thing. We were not.
Was there a radar?
Yeah, there were other teams who were large and in charge. We were not one of them. I tell you, we walked off the bus and we were defeated. I'm not going to lie.
The mayor of Broadway was there.
Yeah, the mayor, but also...
Interesting mayor, full sleeve tattoos on this guy.
Well, I think one of the teams had some ringers. I'm like, I think I saw that guy at the Copa. I think that's a midfielder for Uruguay who's in town. Like, they was like, what is going on with this kickball team?
There's no Buffalo Bills, but a couple of people from the Bolivian national team decided to show up just to whoop our ass.
They were unusually good at kickball.
Or we were unusually bad.
It's very possible.
Either way. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, did any team make a championship move in the first 12 hours of free agency? We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining.
Sonnets to Tom Clevy's brain.
Peter Bellotti, 5 days off in a row. but his grumpy demeanor didn't let it show. Back on the Maggie and Perloff show, his frown as deep as ever, you know. Peter, oh Peter, why the grumpy face? 5 days of freedom, not a single trace of joy or laughter, just that familiar frown. Back on the air, bringing everyone down. A week of no work, just time to unwind. Still that grumpy mood he couldn't leave behind. 5 days off, but it's all the same. Back with a grumble, no one to blame. Peter, oh Peter, why the grumpy face? 5 days of freedom, not a single trace of joy or laughter, just that familiar frown. Back on the air, bringing everyone down. So here's to belong. Every single day, on Maggie and Perloff show, there's someone in the chair. Pine Needles wakes up at dawn. Coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see, the Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, Pine Needles are tuned in tight to infinity. Sports radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words, you find your life. Sitting in my room, scrolling through the tube, watching Maggie and Perloff, getting in the groove. Found a viewer in the chat, his name's Dalton, I'm Brian. Spitting fire comments, he's the #1 fan. Got his fingers moving, stepping non-stop, dropping all the knowledge, never gonna flop. Dalton, I'm Brian, he's the king of the chat. With his love for the show, there ain't no doubt.
Yeah, it's the 6 God, running through the airwaves, no facade. I tune in, Maggie and Perloff on the dial, but it's just another show that's missing the style. Got your takes, but they're colder than a winter foul. When I come through, I'ma light it up on your row. Try to run the game, but you just in denial. I got the truth, keep 100, no trial. Perloff, you just a stat on a pile. Maggie, step up, but you're missing by a mile. It's game over when I step into the booth. My words cut deep, yeah, they're the living proof. M&B, just seem to miss the youth. Try to hit the mark, but you just uncouth. Talking big, but your points ain't sticking. My lines flow.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hav, O-H to the O-V. I used to move snowflakes by the O-Z. I guess even back then you can call me CEO of the ROC. Hovey, fresh out the frying pan into the fire. I be the music biz #1 supplier, flyer than a piece of paper bearing my name. Got the hottest chick in the game wearing my chain, that's right. Hov, not Doc, but similar to them letters, no one can do it better. I check cheddar like a food inspector. My homie Strick told me, dude, finish your breakfast. So that's what I'ma do. Take you back to the dude with the Lexus, fast forward the jewels and the necklace. Let me tell you dudes what I do to protect this shoot at you actors like movie directors. This ain't an FBI.
Is apparently the only person left on the list.
Yeah, and then there's Zach LaVine's name is thrown around for a lot of teams too. Would that be enough for LeBron to take less? Zach LaVine, who's an injury-prone player.
Yeah.
I think honestly, he helps the team, but he has not exactly been a hot commodity in the free agent market. A lot of teams don't even want Zach LaVine for his money. So I don't know. I'm not sure what LeBron's going to get out of all this. I'm not sure he's going to get Klay. I feel like, not knowing all the financial details, there's a great chance Klay goes to Dallas, and that leaves LeBron just sitting there without another star. And I think that's frustrating as a Lakers fan. I forget the Bronny stuff, forget the JJ Redick stuff. You need another big-time player here if you really want to give LeBron another ring.
Okay, but does Klay even fit that description anymore?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm not sure that he does. I think he's still an effective shooter, but he's not the defender that he once was. I feel like we're having the same Paul George conversation. He's not the same defensive player that he was, and at times he can really heat up. That whole Game 6 Klay can kind of come back, but that's not consistent anymore. So is that going to be frustrating for the Lakers, or how do you navigate that as if you're JJ Redick? So I don't know. If you were Klay Thompson, would you rather go play for the Lakers or play for the Mavs?
Mavs.
I know they were just in the finals, but the Lakers are also home. His dad literally does the color commentary for the team.
Yeah, I don't know why Mavs just instinctually felt like a better fit to me. Because he's exactly what they need, because there's so much attention on Luka. He's going to be wide open. Where the Lakers, there are a lot of players kind of in the same. He's going to be sharing time with a lot of guys who do the same thing. I mean, where does Klay play there?
I don't know. And I thought that the Mavs didn't have any money. Like, I know they got off of Tim Hardaway's contract with all the second-round picks, but still, I thought they didn't have enough, but I guess if Klay's the missing piece there, I'm just not sure.
Well, they lost Derrick Jones Jr. to free agency.
That's true.
It is interesting. Do the Mavs get better? We were talking about, did anybody make a championship move? Realistically, the championship teams are probably the young teams, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Dallas, even though Kyrie's a little bit older. But
Boston.
Yeah, Boston. It's hard in the West, it's hard not to focus, as a fan, like guys like Chris Paul and Paul George and LeBron James, who've been all-stars forever, and Steph Curry. But the reality is, we might be talking about guys whose times have passed. This might really be irrelevant in the championship picture.
Well, you better hope not, because your 76ers made the biggest gamble on one of these older guys, which was bringing in Paul George for 4 years and $212 million. But listen, I say look at the first 2 years of the contract. Can you get a title in those first 2 years? You say there's all this talent in the West, but look what happened. An Eastern Conference team won the finals.
Yeah.
And it's a gauntlet to get through the West. And there's a new team that wins every year. So, and to be honest, the Nuggets haven't really done anything.
No, they have actually been criticized as being cheap because they wouldn't find a way to keep Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's a keep, and they obviously lost Bruce Brown 2 years ago.
Sure.
I feel like they don't want to pay up for all their role players. Honestly, and I'll tell you one move. What if Isaiah Hartenstein leaves the Knicks for the Thunder? All of a sudden, they're a contender. It's just a changing NBA. Like, age happens. I think the most important factor when we're looking at all this is who's the right age to win a title. The Celtics won because Tatum and Brown hit their prime. They were 27, just like LeBron and Jordan. And that's what you need. You don't need 37. That's why I can't get excited. You've tried all morning long to convince me that I should be so into Paul George to the Sixers. I'm having trouble getting there.
Well, I think once you see them all on the court together, I just don't know how long it's going to last. Embiid and Paul George, like, do you get 50 games with both of those guys?
Wow, I hope so. Even so, do you get them healthy in the playoffs? That's Embiid's problem. He always gets hurt come spring. He just wears down. I want to see him just in tip-top shape. Maybe you save him. Back to the Lakers for 1 second.
Yeah.
I have another problem. I really think Anthony Davis needs to move to the 4. Like, he wears out every game. He has to cover Joker, and he just doesn't have the energy to do that. So the Lakers, you're right, they don't need Klay Thompson. They need some help up front. And I don't know, now that Jonas Valanciunas is signed with the Wizards, I don't know where that's going to happen. Is there a savior out there for the Lakers?
I don't know. I thought you had something interesting where you can get odds now on what Bronny's first basket is going to be. So we found out that Bronny is going to be wearing number 9, which apparently Nick Van Exel has signed off on. So in case that was keeping people up at night.
You told me that on the production call. I'm like, Nick Van Exel has no right to sign off on a number with the Lakers. I love Nick Van Exel, Nick the Quick, but still, okay.
I'm just telling you what went down on the socials last night. He blessed it.
I have the Bronny odds via Bovada. What his first points are going to be. Bronny James, first NBA point is a layup, plus 200. First NBA point is a dunk, plus 750. 3-point field goal, plus 220. And free throw, plus 500. Ooh. I'd go 3-pointer because I think he's going to want to be nowhere near the paint against these grown men.
Say, layup. Maybe a fast break.
Yeah,
an easy one, outlet pass, just no one around him.
There's this workout video where him and Bryce and LeBron are working out, And he dunked like it was an 8-foot basket.
He's got a 42-inch vertical or something?
Yes. So maybe a dunk. It's going to be garbage time, I would hope.
I just wonder, what game is this coming in? Is this game 1?
I think so.
When do they actually put LeBron and Bronny on the court together? Is it the beginning of the season? Because you don't want to risk that LeBron, knock on wood, gets hurt, and then this whole experiment just completely is irrelevant.
It's day 1. It's a 3-point field goal plus 220. Done.
So this is game 1 of 82.
Yes.
No way he gets playing time game 1.
I don't think so either. I'm with Ryan on this one.
But you have a great point too, Maggie. What if LeBron tears his ACL and we never get to see the pass?
Yeah, you can't risk LeBron getting hurt. I'm just going to knock on wood because I don't want to see LeBron get hurt. But you can't wait too long here.
There's a lot of marketing money behind making this happen. You can't wait.
Yeah, that feels like all there is.
What if it's preseason?
I don't think it's going to mean the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. hit their back-to-back home runs. It wasn't spring training. We need a moment here if this is going to pay off.
As you point out many times, Bronny is not Ken Griffey Jr.
The relationship between Klay Thompson and the Warriors is allegedly toxic. How did it get this bad?
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hav, O-H to the O-V. I used to move snowflakes by the O-Z. I guess even back then you can call me CEO of the ROC. Hovey, fresh out the frying pan into the fire. I be the music biz #1 supplier, flyer than a piece of paper bearing my name. Got the hottest chick in the game. Wearing my chain, that's right. Hov, not Doc. But similar to them letters, no one can do it better. I check cheddar like a food inspector. My homie Strick told me, dude, finish your breakfast. So that's what I'ma do. Take you back to the dude with the Lexus, fast forward the jewels and the necklace. Let me tell you dudes what I do to protect this shoot at you actors like movie directors. This ain't an dog. Oh, shit. Now, before I finish, let me just say, I did not come here to show out.
Okay,
did not come here to impress you. Because to tell you the truth, when I leave here, I'm gone. And I don't care what you think about me. But just remember, when it hits the fan, brother, whether it's next year, 10 years, 20 years from now, you'll never be able to say that these brothers lied to you, Jack.
Odyssey Sports Minute sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a metal store at
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Hav, O-H to the O-V. I used to move snowflakes by the O-Z. I guess even back then you can call me CEO of the ROC. Hovey, fresh out the frying pan into the fire. I be the music biz #1 supplier, flyer than a piece of paper bearing my name. Got the hottest chick in the game. Wearing my chain, that's right. Hov, not Doc. But similar to them letters, no one can do it better. I check cheddar like a food inspector. My homie Strick told me, dude, finish your breakfast. So that's what I'ma do. Take you back to the dude with the Lexus, fast forward the jewels and the necklace. Let me tell you dudes what I do to protect this shoot at you actors like movie directors. This ain't an
Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Hey,
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Toxic. That's how the relationship between Klay Thompson and the Warriors is being described. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie, great. Andrew Perloff. Never thought it would get to this, Pearl. We have a guy who's been such a piece of the fabric of an organization, 4 titles, Splash Brothers, maybe the greatest backcourt of all time, Klay Thompson and the team and things sort of falling apart. And Klay feeling very disrespected by the fact that the Warriors are only offering him about $20 million a year.
It's unbelievable, too, because we thought Klay Thompson was kind of laid back, Mr. Boating to practice guy.
Yeah.
And always been seemingly a really nice guy. And I just never thought that would be a relationship that would become toxic. If you look at the history of the Warriors in this run, it was always a feel-good dynasty. It just didn't feel like money would tear them apart.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. Also, I didn't think that $20 million was an insult. I'm actually kind of curious where he might get something like that at another team. I doubt that he's a 20. So now it just feels like it's kind of on principle, right? Like pride has been wounded here and that he won't take the deal even though he might end up getting less, maybe somewhere else. Do you think the Mavericks are paying him $25 million? I have no idea. Or the Lakers.
It does seem like he's going to get that, right? He's going to get that money. I'm not really sure what the money issue is. Maybe the Warriors secretly just were saying things behind the scenes that they really wanted out of this. They really want to move on. They really want to rip the Band-Aid and be done with the dynasty. Maybe it's over.
So is it wrong for me that one of the first places that I went to was Steph Curry? And Steph Curry, who I think has really gone behind the scenes, has gone to bat for Draymond Green and publicly as well, right? Draymond, who had to take a leave from the team this past year to deal with, anger issues and stuff like that. Steph has always stood behind Draymond Green. Even you could say that the antics have not been worth it. I wondered where Steph Curry was in this Klay Thompson discussion, because don't you think that Steph has maybe earned the right in that organization to say, I want Klay with me? And I'm wondering if Steph didn't say that. And maybe Steph sees that he needs another running mate or a new running mate or whatever to try to get another title. And I just feel like Curry's got more power in that organization than anyone, maybe outside of LeBron with the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. So you're saying that Steph betrayed Klay Thompson.
I'm not saying betrayed. I'm just saying where. I'm just asking, where is Steph Curry in this whole thing?
Are we sure that Steph has that kind of impact, though? Because aren't the Warriors like a famous, like, brilliant front office? Isn't that their whole thing? This Warrior Ball, whatever, their version of Moneyball.
Right.
So it never was like, he was always a piece in this whole puzzle that the Warriors, he was never a creator of the team, was he? I know he backed Draymond passively, but I'm not sure he's like LeBron where he chooses everybody.
So according to Curry, he always says, I don't say things publicly, but I let my opinion be known behind the scenes.
Right, but...
You don't think they come to Steph Curry and ask him his opinion on stuff?
Well, I mean, no. I think back in the day when they were building that team, like they took pride in the fact that they used this whole Silicon Valley really high-end, new wave technique to building a team. Like, they were like, oh, we're the most brilliant front office of all time.
Okay, what was so brilliant? You got Kevin Durant in free agency. Like, you made the best pitch. And to be honest, Steph Curry, once upon a time, going to the Hamptons and having to pitch, I know that was Draymond working the relationship behind the scenes, but that had to be Steph Curry saying, I'm willing to take a step to the side and share basketball with you when I'm the clear, like, leader of the team.
You say that, by the way, but I do think the Warriors did a smart thing. They realized 3 is more than 2 and changed the entire league. Kind of like baseball, where all of a sudden people realize, oh, a walk is as good as a single.
Sure.
So I think they did revolutionize the game, and I think that was a front office move. Like, they did use analytics.
Okay, that's fine, but like, the salary
That's why
cap.
Clay and Steph were Clay and Steph.
No.
Otherwise, they would have been just a normal backcourt.
I get it, and seeing the talent of Draymond and how everything, can kind of, what a brilliant passer he is and all that stuff, I understand. However, like, they got lucky to an extent and made a great pitch to Kevin Durant that the salary cap spiked in a year when Kevin Durant happened to be a free agent. And he decided to go to Golden State, and they ripped off 2 more titles because Durant was so awesome.
I totally disagree with that read on the Golden State Warriors.
What else was it?
Well, first of all, they won another one.
Yeah, they did. Years later, but yes, they did.
Because one, they got good enough to win a title and then set the regular season win total record with this style of basketball. They got good enough to where Kevin Durant could not turn them down. So they get credit for that. And they got good enough because of their system. It wasn't because there was no luck involved in any of that. I don't think.
I know, but once Durant got there, it was
like
it was slam dunk. They
titles.
lost 1 finals game in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, reality is if they were concerned about legacy, they would have not gotten Durant and won 1 or 2 of those anyway. So they were still the best team without Durant. They were amazing.
Yeah, but it wasn't easy for them to beat the Cavaliers. Once Durant got there, it was easy. Like, it was.
Well, okay. I just think that's not. I kind of disagree with that read on the Warriors dynasty because Durant was part of it, but he wasn't like. That's not the reason the Warriors were the Warriors. I mean, they won 2 of their 4 with him. They probably would have won at least one of those, maybe both of them without him. They were still probably the favorite.
It put such distance, though, between them and every other team, And I know they set the regular season record the year before that, and they ended up losing in the finals.
And part of that was because Draymond had kicked LeBron.
Yeah, and got suspended.
Yeah, and Steph Curry's knee was a little wobbly the year before. You don't think that they would have won either the next 2 titles? They easily could have.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you can't give them, like, I don't think you give the front office credit for Kevin Durant coming there when a salary cap spiked and he was looking for a new team and went to the best team.
Right.
Like,
but
that was that you don't get extra credit for that.
You get credit for creating the best team. That's what I'm saying. Like, they were the best team because that front office and that coaching staff did a lot of smart things. And Steph Curry was brilliant. It was all part of the thing. To say they're much I think they're closer to like the 2000s Red Sox. Like, there was some system going on there too. They're just smarter than everyone. They realized like this is how we should do things. And I think the rest of the league caught up eventually. And now everybody's shooting from 3-point line. It's still funny. You think of this as just like, oh, they got Durant, and that's why the Warriors were so great.
No. Stephen Klay and Draymond and Steve Kerr adding him, I get it. No, it's brilliant, and the front office will tell you how smart they are. They'll tell you they're light years ahead and all that. I'm just saying the 2 years that they were winning with Durant, you don't get credit for that, I don't think, if you're the front office. I think Durant wanted to he just joined the best team, and that's why he got super criticized for it. To this day, he still gets criticized for it.
Right. The reason they were the best team, though, is a lot of reasons. Also, and even Durant easily could have gone to another team, another super team, and not won. It definitely could have happened. Listen, we've seen it twice since he left Golden State.
Yep, that's true. We're asking the question, though, about this relationship getting toxic between Klay Thompson and the Warriors, and I'm just wondering where's Steph Curry in all of this, because I do think Steph Curry has the most power on this team.
I do not.
But that's crazy, though. Like,
why
wouldn't he?
I just don't think Steph Curry, based on personality and what I've seen, I don't think he gets heavily into personnel stuff.
I think he got involved for Draymond. I do. And because Draymond, there's no reason Draymond should still be on the team.
I feel like the front office also kind of is into Draymond.
Well, I mean, maybe that's it. But you punched a teammate. They send the teammate out of town. I mean, Draymond gets suspended last year. Like, there are so many times that Draymond has cost the Warriors, and they've never thought for a second about moving on from him because I think he takes a lot. He's like a Steph protector. And I think Steph Curry, whether it's not outward like LeBron, but I do think that he wields a lot of power in that organization. And I think he could. I think if he wanted Klay, he could have said, I want Klay. Because that's the one person they can't afford to lose, right? The Warriors?
Steph. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. You could definitely be right. I just feel like he has a much different style than, say, a LeBron or Michael Jordan back. I'm not sure Steph. You see Steph. Do you really feel like he is being Machiavellian about his roster here?
He should be. I mean,
yeah, maybe. Or should he be? Do players really know what they're doing when it comes to this stuff?
Well, again, I think that if Steph wanted to keep Klay there, I think that probably is a factor. And I wonder if he did.
Or do you think the front office was looking at age and numbers and saying, like, man, it'd be nice to get out of this?
Probably. I think that is what happened, quite frankly. 855-212-4227. Apparently $20 million, not enough. But we're thinking about this, about players who you think are going to spend their entire career with one team, and then it doesn't turn out that way. The sort of, what does the future hold for Klay Thompson? Is it going to be odd to see him in a Laker jersey? It would be odd to see him in a Mavericks jersey. It'd be odd to see him in a Orlando Magic jersey, which I don't know if is going to happen now. We're thinking of what's the biggest example of this, Perloff? The craziest athlete you saw in a different jersey, and it just did not make any sense to you.
Okay. It's not necessarily the craziest, but to me, the worst example is Emmitt Smith going to the Cardinals. So he was a Dallas Cowboy, obviously. I think will always be known as a Dallas Cowboy. So at the end of his career, signed with the Cardinals for 2 years. And the Cardinals, if you remember, played in Sun Devil Stadium at the time. Not exactly.
Jerry World?
Jerry World. Actually, I don't think.
No, Jerry World didn't exist then.
Yeah, was right. Okay, it might have. Let's see. So it was 2002. What year did Jerry World start?
Right before the Super Bowl, I think that was between the Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It hadn't been up for a few years before that? Okay, so anyway, here's the funny thing about Emmitt. Emmitt goes at age 34, averages 2.8 yards per carry in his first year. And then he played his second year, 3.5 yards per carry, 256 total yards, 937 yards. They were terrible. It was a money grab, and it was kind of sad. The other one I was going to think it was weird. I'm sorry, do you have a highlight?
Yeah, here's what it sounded like.
This is Emmitt. Emmitt, get it. Look at Emmitt. 26 yards like the old Emmitt.
He, broke the all-time rushing record in a Cardinals uniform.
The one I was going to think about, there was two that were weird. I'll save them, but we'll go back. I just say there are other great players who switch teams who, if you do well at your new team, I don't think that you fit this category. You have to stink at your second team. Otherwise, then it's okay. Does that make sense? So,
yeah, we're talking about players who left their team and it just felt wrong. Like Klay Thompson playing for a different team is just not going to seem right.
But he won't make this list if he wins a title. If, say, he goes to Dallas, then it's a little different. But, okay, who do you got?
I agree with you. For me, the all-time weirdest person to see in a different uniform was definitely Hakeem Olajuwon on the Raptors.
Alvin Williams. Yeah, you got to go in there. You got to exhaust this matchup right here.
Olajuwon from the same spot. The jumper he hit before the end of the quarter.
So it was kind of unremarkable. Olajuwon ended up with a back injury. They did make the playoffs that first year with the Raptors, but they didn't do anything of note. And so Olajuwon should have never been out of a Rockets jersey. This is ridiculous. It was right around the time when Patrick Ewing was also in a Seattle Supersonics and Orlando Magic, end of his career. I don't fault the guys for wanting to play. It just looks so odd as a fan.
Yeah, those two guys especially feel like they're tied together with those terrible. Also, it just didn't look right.
No.
That sort of growly dinosaur jersey.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Which is, by the way, it's funny. That's like a hot logo now. People are into the old Raptors jersey, but no, it did not work for Hakeem at all.
Okay, so other ones we're getting in the chat now. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network, where Pino says Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, they all left. Now, Joe Montana made the AFC Championship game. I mean, he got concussed.
Jerry Rice made a Super Bowl, so that's totally. Now, Joe Montana was awesome in Kansas City, and Jerry Rice was great after he left San Francisco. So I don't think those guys qualify. And Rice played a long time, too.
Yeah, still played a while after that. I mean, there's another one that I was thinking about from the football side, which was Franco Harris Franco Harris,
Seahawk, right?
Penn State to Pittsburgh, so that makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Is such a hero, has an all-time memorable play, and was a great player, and then goes to the Seahawks. It was like for like $500,000.
Oh yeah, I've done pieces on this of the weird universe. O.J. Simpson as a Niner was always one. They got Joe Namath as Joe Namath as a Ram. That was not good. Or was he was a Ram. Everybody goes somewhere bad at the end. There's very few John Elways who go out as a winner. The rule is to play one bad season.
I always thought that you would go to Michael Jordan, the forgettable years in Washington.
What's that?
You're not acknowledging?
Michael Jordan went to Washington? I don't even know what you're talking about. No, I don't even acknowledge it. But you know what? He wasn't that bad. He scored 20 points a game.
No, he just got really involved in the front office and the drafting of Kwame Brown, and it was just not great. Pete, you got somebody.
I think it was pretty awkward to see Brett Favre in a Jet and a Viking uniform, especially on the Vikings when they were competing for the NFC title with him. It was weird for me.
Yeah.
But it's such a great season, though, that again, if you're good, though, doesn't that give you some leeway?
It gives you a pass. It does, but all those years with Green Bay and to see him in the division rival with Minnesota, it was actually more awkward to see him on the Vikings than on the Jets, because the Jets are known to bringing in the retreads or players that are near the end of their prime, like Ed Reed. That was another one. I think him on the Vikings was weird for me.
Man, I forgot about Ed Reed on the Jets.
Ed Reed was a Jet?
Yeah, he was.
He was.
I had no idea.
Yeah, was that with Rex, obviously. More here. We've got Ken Stabler in an Oilers jersey from P. Maddie in the chat. I know he just passed away recently, but Willie Mays in a Mets jersey was always a little bit odd, too, after the New York Giants, San Francisco Giants, then the Mets, and he wasn't really playing well then, but the Mets did retire his number.
The team swore by him, and they want to honor the original owner.
I just watched a documentary on it. He was supposed to come up for the last out in the World Series. He had his bat in his hand, and they were going to put up Willie Mays, and the manager called some like scrub guy instead. It was terrible. It could have been Willie Mays could have had the last out of the World Series.
Manager was Yogi Berra.
Yeah, that was another weird one.
Oh yeah.
All right, keep them coming, guys. These are guys who you just. It felt very weird to see them in a different jersey. Like Klay Thompson, if he actually does leave the Golden State Warriors, it's just going to be very odd to see him in a different uniform.
Yeah, I take him in a Sixers uniform, by the way, if there's still money left. That's a fit. Can we go there, please?
You like this better than Paul George? Why?
No.
In addition,
they're trying to do both.
Oh, okay.
Well, they really wanted to do Paul George and KCP. That became too expensive. But I think they're sort of floating around, maybe still in the mix for Klay. That'd be cool. Give me Klay. I think the funny thing about teams like Klay is washed. There's no doubt about it. A lot of teams, like if you're the Mavs, you're like, yes. If you're the Lakers, you're like, let's do it, right? Like there still seems to be some demand.
I mean, LeBron was calling Klay Thompson yesterday at 6:00 Eastern time. More for you. Most odd players that switch teams at the end of their career to see them in a different uniform. How about the Clutch Time squad says Dominique Wilkins on the Celtics? Always forgetting that one.
What?
I have no recollection of this
at all.
I
know that happened.
But he did. He played 77 games with the Boston Celtics
Who played more
in 94,
games
95.
Who played more games as Celtic, Dominique or Shaq?
Oh, my gosh. Shaq at the end played for everybody. He played for the Suns. He played for the Cavs. He played for the Boston Celtics.
He played for the Celtics, right? I'm not imagining that. I can't even.
Did?
No, he did. Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4227. Kevin's in Oregon. Hey, Kevin, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? Warren Spahn wearing a San Francisco Giants uniform.
Man, you're so right. I mean, listen, this is obviously a lot more before my time, but sure.
And Mays wearing a Mets uniform.
You're so right. I mean, 21 years was it for Willie Mays in a Giants uniform and then going to the Mets? I think it was 21 years. Kevin, thank you so much for that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hang up on you.
I think it's also another player in that same realm. Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs wearing first a Yankee uniform and winning a title with them, and then wearing a Devil Rays
The Devil
uniform.
Rays, yeah. That was odd.
Awkward.
Ryan, you got one for us?
Tony Parker with the 1 year of the Hornets after playing 17 years in San Antonio.
Totally forgot about that.
I had no idea.
The worst decision he could have ever made. Just retire.
Just completely forgot that he played for the Hornets.
By the way, Warren Spahn, most home runs for a pitcher of all time, I believe. The guy could rake. To me, is a huge skill. A pitcher that can hit. Back in the day.
Do you count Babe Ruth? Because he was a pitcher.
Did he hit them as a pitcher though?
Not as many as he did as a outfielder.
We've got more for you here. How about Pablo Sandoval in a Red Sox uniform, according to TruthX?
No. Because Sandoval was, I know, a giant, but I'm not sure he was famous enough to be too odd.
Luis says Scottie Pippen.
Oh, with
the Blazers?
But he was good with the Blazers, wasn't he?
I thought he was still good. We're talking.
Where was he back? Did they go on a playoff run with Scotty, or am I imagining that?
I think it was Scotty. Was Arvydas Sabonis still on that team? And Detlef Schrempf. I might be imagining all this. Was this a fever dream, or did this actually happen?
No,
both.
I don't think it was Schrempf. Wasn't he part of?
He had a year in Houston too.
Yeah, Houston, and then he had 4 years in Portland.
Yeah, no, was that the Donaghy? Was he there for the Donaghy series? No, he definitely was at No, he definitely was in that mix with Portland, like when they were a really good team, I believe. Anyway, you're right, though. It is kind of weird.
I say, you know what was kind of weird? Phil Jackson running the Knicks.
That was odd.
Even though he was a Knick.
And played for the Knicks, in the
70s. To me, he's a Bull. Or a Laker.
Or a Laker, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a mistake. Yeah, Scotty was good with the Blazers. They were a really good team under him.
Clutch time again saying Ray Bork on the Avalanche, which was painful for Bruins fans. Yeah, but it was like a positive thing for Ray Bork because he finally won, right? Barkley playing in Houston. We knew that. Gary Payton and Karl Malone on the Lakers.
Oh.
I mean, Gary Payton had already left, right? So he would already play to Miami and whatever. But yeah, Karl Malone on the Lakers.
That sounded sacrilegious.
Okay, but here's the thing. We're talking about guys who switched teams at their end of their careers and how weird it seemed because it looks like Klay Thompson's going to be leaving the Warriors. But they made it to the finals. Like, people clown that team. They made it to the freaking finals and lost to the Detroit Pistons, who were this really unique setup where they were just like a collection of really great players without not top heavy with superstars.
No. You definitely clowned Karl Malone, and because they already had a dream team before those guys got there. That was supposed to be like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors.
I know, but we're saying were they successful or not? They did make it to the finals. That would be you're successful, I think. 855-212-4227. All right, keep them coming, guys. We see a lot of these. These are great. Jeremy Shockey is a Panther. Who was the weirdest end of their career switching teams? Tell us who it is for you, because Klay Thompson's going to be wearing another uniform next year, and it's going to be awkward. It's Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Your breakfast. So that's what I'm going to do. Take you back to the dude with the Lexus, fast forward the jewels and the necklace. Let me tell you, dudes, what I do to protect this shoot at you actors like movie directors. This ain't an FBI dog. Oh, shit. Now, before I finish, let me just say, I did not come here to show out, did not come here to impress you. Because to tell you the truth, when I leave here, I'm gone. And I don't care what you think about me, but just remember, when it hits the fan, brother, whether it's next year, 10 years, 20 years from now, you'll never be able to say that these brothers lied to you, Jack.
In the heart of the game, under the bright lights, EJ stood ready, aiming for new heights. But fate took a turn on that somber play. left us all speechless, nothing to say. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence, the crowd's hush, dreams on hold, the cheers now freeze, hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Once danced on the field, now a quiet rest. Each stride a memory, we thought you the best. The journey's paused, the spirit feels heavy. Oh, how we miss you, strong and steady. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence, the crowd's hush, dreams on hold, the cheers now freeze, hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more for you? Hear the whispers in the morning dew. Stand by you in highs and lows, waiting for the day you rise and glow. Chase me, all it has left us in the silence, the crowd's hush, dreams on hold, the cheers now freeze, hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more? Do you hearing whispers in?
One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie Perloff. All right, we're talking about players at the end of their career who look wrong in a new uniform. You know, 37-year-old athlete gets one more deal. Maggie went with Akeem going to the Raptors. I went with Emmitt Smith as a Cardinal. I think in the coming days we might see Klay Thompson in a different uniform. Although I got to tell you, Klay going, if he goes to the Lakers, feels like that's still California. It's not quite as weird. Imagine if he went to like the Orlando Magic. Like that's the other thing too. You gotta pick. If you go to a contender, maybe you gotta pass. Montana won in Kansas City. Jerry Rice made a Super Bowl with the Raiders. I think if you just go to like Orlando and then peter out, that's not good.
Lose in the first round again to the Cavs or something. Yeah. It's not going to be as remarkable. Klay going to the Orlando Magic, that would be just so bizarre.
Although the Orlando Magic, that's not a bad fit now. All of a sudden, they're a player. Like they're a very interesting team. I could see that being tempting to him.
Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4227. So we're asking you again, the oddest sort of end-of-career team switch for an athlete. Sean's in Oregon's got one. Hey, Sean, what's up?
Hey, you guys. You got to put up there, Jordan going to the Wizards' wasteland, just fading away. I mean, LeBron ain't fading away like that guy did. And
no.
I got a Blazers basketball with Will Perdue, Steve Kerr, and Scottie Pippen all on the signatures on that ball.
Nice.
And I'll never forget Game 7 when Scottie Pippen and the Blazers should have won a championship. His whole career would have been changed.
Was that the game where they couldn't score for the whole fourth quarter? They just basically just didn't score at all?
They were up by like 13, 14 points with only a couple minutes left. And they just like total collapse.
Is this against the Lakers?
Yeah, against the Lakers.
Game 7, right?
7.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty wore that one a lot.
It's sad, you guys. That's when Shaq did the Superman. That's when he ran up the floor with his fists, all the arms straight out. Yeah, I'll never forget it, you guys. That's just, it's still heartbreaking to me to this day.
You know, Sean, Perloff had a theory that Tim Donaghy was the official there. He was not. I'm just looking at Game 7. Dick Bavetta, Hugh Evans, and Steve Javy.
No, but
in the series.
Well, I think the Blazers made the playoffs every year around. They were in that mix with the Kings and the Lakers all those years, as I recall. I just think that I think I get that Blazers team and those Kings teams with Weber mixed up. I'm being totally honest here. Like they all had the same kind of players, like Rasheed Wallace. Like they were both these tall. I don't know why. That's probably a mistake on my part. But I think Pippen was on a really good Blazers team that was always. They were right around 50 wins back then.
Yeah.
I was a huge Rasheed Wallace fan, so I rooted for him, West Philly. But didn't happen.
It was the starting five of Wallace, Scottie Pippen, Steve Smith, Sabonis, and Damon Stoudemire. And I was right. Detlef Schrempf was coming off the bench for 20 minutes a game.
Wait, was Brian Grant?
Yes.
Was he healthy then? Because remember, he had the heart issues. He was amazing. Oh,
Greg Anthony, Stacey Augmon was on that team.
I love that era of the NBA so much.
Let's go down a rabbit hole of the Blazers. But anyway, we're asking you about craziest end-of-career team switches for guys. Randy Moss with the Pats. But here's the thing. Randy Moss with the Pats.
Wait, what?
They went to the Super Bowl.
Did he come back to the Pats? What's that person talking about?
No, maybe because he was a Viking for so
his
long.
His best year by tenfold was with the Patriots. Where did Randy Moss end his career, though?
Back with the Vikings, I think.
Did he?
I think there was a second stint with the Vikings. Tony's in Michigan. Tony, what's yours?
So I think you're mixing criteria a bit here.
Okay.
If you want to say, someone who went somewhere else and then fell off, I'd say Albert Pujols. Wasn't as weird to see him at the end because he spent so long in LA, but he went from being like perennial MVP candidate to basically middling at best in LA. Still the craziest to me was Brady in a Bucs uniform. You get the greatest quarterback of all time for nearly 20 years in one place, and then even with the success in Tampa, it was just too weird seeing him in a Bucs uniform.
Yeah, Tony, I get it. You're right. We were mixing criteria a little bit. Thank you for the call, because when somebody's in a different uniform, but then they have some success, does it make it a little less weird? Like the fact that Brady did win the Super Bowl with the Bucs, is it easier to take? Is it a little less bizarre? Like I said, Hakeem with the Raptors, like there was just nothing happened.
And Randy Moss with the Patriots. By the way, 2 more teams after he went back to Minnesota for Randy Moss. One you'll remember, one I had no idea. One is kind of memorable. I thought, by the way, Pujols was awesome as a Dodger when he would be so big and coming off the bench at DH. Ooh, big fan.
Wait,
it was like a softball player.
Randy Moss play? He played after New England, he went somewhere else.
He did a year, part of a year in Minnesota.
He was definitely a Raider, but I don't know when in the chronology.
That was before he went to New England.
Is he a Seahawk?
Nope. You're thinking Jerry Rice, probably.
Yeah.
Tell us who was.
So he did. Remember, he was Tennessee. That sounds familiar, right? But then, according to his stats page, he did a year with the Niners at the end. He had 28 catches in 16 games, 3 touchdowns. Don't remember that at all. No memory.
Braden's in Colorado. Hey, Braden, what's up?
Yeah, I got Jason Witten with the Las Vegas Raiders from whole career with the Cowboys. Weirdest freaking thing ever.
Was it weirder to see him with the Raiders or in the booth?
That was the weirdest 4-year period.
The performance in the booth was a letdown for the Hall of Fame career he had with the Cowboys, but still weirder to see him with a Raiders logo on the side of his jersey and helmet.
Totally with you, Braden. Great call. Yeah, it was an interesting couple years there for Jason Witten.
Oh, yeah.
I totally get why he wanted to get back on the field, by the way, after the broadcasting debacle. You got to get that bad taste out of your mouth. Andrew Bogusch is here with headlines. Bogusch, you got one of these? Late career guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not high on the overall list, but it mattered to me. Mark Messier being a Vancouver Canuck after leaving the Rangers. And then I was at the press conference where he came back to the Rangers, and I guess it was he and Dave Checkett. They literally buried a hatchet in like a fish tank because Messier had left angry with the organization and then came back and they put sand over a hatchet in like an aquarium for us to watch them do it. It was the dumbest thing ever. But
wow.
But Messier wore like those weird navy, red, and blue Canucks jerseys with like the orca jumping out of the sea on the crest. It was weird.
I was just looking it up. Gretzky's end of career was not seamless either.
No.
Because he had that year, he was a St. Louis Blue for a little bit.
Yes.
That's kind of weird.
And him being a coach with Phoenix.
Oh,
right?
my God. I forgot about that.
But as a player, St. Louis.
St. Louis before, the Rangers was a little memorable, I guess, but...
yeah, he was good as a Ranger, and those were decent teams.
Right. But just Wayne Gretzky in a St. Louis Blues jersey does not really make sense.
No, not even a little bit.
Another awkward Ranger is Brian Trottier as the Rangers head coach.
Yeah. Islander great.
Yeah.
But he knew it was better.
Lemieux ended as a Penguin. He never did another team, right?
He never, he left and would come back, but he never, stopped playing and then resumed, but he never played for anybody else.
We can all agree that that's the ideal situation as a Hall of Famer does. You'd rather have, for example, Josh Allen retire as a Bill, right? That's what we all want as fans. That's the goal.
No, I think the worst of this is definitely now it's fine for them now because it looks like the Lions are going to be good, but you just don't want the Matthew Stafford situation where you're with a guy for years and years and years and then he goes somewhere else and immediately wins.
Yeah.
That's the nightmare.
That's funny. I don't know if Lions fans were so sad about that because it wasn't going anywhere with Matthew Stafford, right?
Okay, but what does he go, if he goes in the Hall of Fame, like you believe Matthew Stafford will, what uniform is he going in as?
A Lion.
But he won the championship with the Rams.
You're just a bust.
There's also that too.
Yeah, I don't think you're wearing a uniform.
Not a bust like you did something wrong.
Yeah,
just like a little statue.
Yeah, I don't think there's a jersey, is there?
There's not, but he's a Lion.
Yeah, he had how many years with the Lions?
Yeah.
A long time. By the way, I'm not sure he gets in. If he does, baseball, to me, I love the baseball. What hat should he wear? That's always fun. And isn't it crazy political? Like the player always likes the last team he was on, even if it makes no sense.
And they never allow the player to pick. Which is crazy.
The player does not officially.
That's why Wade Boggs is in a Devil Ray hat.
And
I
thought they couldn't pick.
No, that made them change it. So now that can't happen because he basically sold his forehead to the Devil Rays. That was in forehead.
The deal. Tony's in the chat said Eric Dickerson is a Falcon.
Oh, my God.
If you say so.
I don't remember that either. Let's get to some headlines. What's up?
Because Joel Embiid's fragility was not enough, the Sixers are adding Paul George to the mix. He did just play 74 regular season games after averaging 47 over the previous 4. George getting $212 million over 4 years to leave the Clippers, who did keep James Harden 2 years and $70 million, and they add Derek Jones Jr., the former Mav, for $3 and $30. LeBron apparently on the phone as soon as allowed yesterday with Klay Thompson. He's expected to chat. Klay is with the Clippers and Mavs as well. The Spurs wasted no time reeling in Chris Paul after the Warriors waived him instead of paying him $30 million. CP3 will get $11 million for the coming season in San Antonio. Nuggets shooter Kentavious Caldwell-Pope moves on to the Magic. The Pistons are reportedly hiring J.B. Bickerstaff as head coach, and Zach Edey has withdrawn from consideration for Canada's Olympic team to focus on Summer League and getting ready for his first season with the Grizzlies. NHL free agency officially begins at noon Eastern today. The Red Wings are re-signing winger Patrick Kane. The Oilers buy out goalie Jack Campbell, and the Lightning expected to sign winger Jake Gensel long-term. Carolina traded his rights to Tampa Bay over the weekend because they couldn't get something done with him. Is the Mets' grimace magic disappearing?
Swing on a liner up the middle, base hit going into right center field. That might go all the way to the wall. It splits the outfielders and does. So Myers has scored. Loperfido around third. He comes home to score standing. And on at second with a 2-run double is Trey Cabbage.
That's how he rose on Mets radio. The Amazons losing 10-5 in 11 innings to the Astros yesterday in a game that ended about 6 hours after it began, thanks to a long rain delay in the 9th inning. The Mets also lost on Saturday despite a 5-run lead. They dropped their first series in a month. The Rangers snapped a 6-game skid, avoiding a 4-game sweep in Baltimore. An 11-2 win last night. Left fielder Wyatt Langford hit for the cycle, the first one in the majors this season. U.S. men's soccer playing for its Copa America life against Uruguay at 9 Eastern in Kansas City. And once again, Uruguay manager Marcelo Bielsa suspended for this match because his team was late taking the field before its previous one. Meanwhile, Mexico does not survive group play, courtesy of last night's scoreless draw with Ecuador. They go through instead because of goal differential and will play Canada in the quarters. Australian Open champ and Thursday Arena Sabalenka has withdrawn from Wimbledon because of a shoulder injury. Play is underway. It's day one of the All England Club. Defending men's champ Carlos Alcaraz about to play on center court. And former Jets QB Zach Wilson, LeBron's inspiration for sleeping with teammates' moms, appears to be stepping away from that gig. The current Broncos QB proposed to his girlfriend, Nicolette Delano, on their current Italian vacation.
Oh, what a nice thing.
Look at that.
Are you being facetious?
Yes.
Why?
Very.
What? Just because he was a good football player is not allowed to find love?
Exactly.
Well, he definitely, I mean, the last girlfriend was the one who accused him of sleeping with his friend's mom. So maybe he's not that great of a partner.
He was 19. Stop being judgmental.
No, I should be more judgmental of the older woman. It's like, you know better.
Yeah, I think I want to start a list, and I'm going to do this, of Pete's beefs today, because so far we have
There's not enough pen or paper in the world.
We got a whiteboard over here. You want me to start writing them down?
We have the Orioles shortstop going in the home run derby.
Right.
We have
Hold on 1 second.
I don't know who organizes Copa, but the rules that made the Uruguay go.
Ball, actually.
I don't know.
And Zach Wilson for getting engaged.
And Zach too. Put him on the list.
And last week you were mad at Zach Wilson for sleeping with teammates' moms. Now he's stepping away from that, and you're still mad at him.
I'm not mad at him. I'm glad he's settling down because he's not going to be a quarterback.
I don't know. That job in the Broncos is wide open, apparently.
I like Pete's consistency here. If you disappoint for the Jets, and you're out for life, no matter what you do. That's fair.
Why do you have the beef with Gunnar Henderson?
No,
he's going to ruin his swing in the home run derby.
Oh, you just have beef with the derby.
Yeah, he's going to go play the home run derby, and then he'll be batting 176 for the rest of the year.
High stakes fantasy.
Right.
Got it.
Oh, is that why? Is he on your team?
He is.
Oh.
Yeah,
my stars.
I didn't realize you were such a big Ranger fan. Right? Rangers?
No, Orioles.
Wait, sorry. No,
Orioles.
Orioles, sorry.
Yes.
It's like, what do you guys say? Yeah, Gunnar Henderson. Sorry, I was watching him yesterday against the Rangers.
Can I save you here with a totally unrelated question? So Zach Edey's not starting for Canada. Well, who is their center now?
So he wasn't even actually on the team yet. They were still going through like a training camp to pick their 12.
Do people realize how loaded that team is?
I have another question for Pete. I think that's a little. You're really you're black and white on a lot of this stuff. Love it, hate it. Where are you on Hawk Tua Girl having all of this like star turn?
I don't want to give it any pay no attention to it whatsoever.
She's got a merch line now,
and
she
was
$1
million in hat sales.
Come on.
And she was on stage with the Zach Bryan band.
Oh, come on. All of us got to work 70 hours a day to get there. and she just says one little thing, and now she's making merch.
Listen,
get lost.
You can work 5 or 7 hours a day. You ain't getting on stage with Zach Bryan, Pete.
That's ridiculous.
Wait, this does not make the board, though, because it's way too famous. Like, you got to have low-profile things. Like, random
Hawk
things.
Tua Girl's way too famous.
Like, Hawk Tua Girl is, like, the number one thing in news. So, no, she can't be on this board. It's got to be, like, Gunnar Henderson.
How about the friend that was with her?
What about her? Is she making any money?
Is she making any money?
Does she have a catchphrase?
No, they should split the money.
Does she have an interesting habit? Apparently not.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. And the phrase, I guess, is
peel the layers. Come on.
She played 2 guards. She could make $15 million a year in the NBA.
Probably. It's ridiculous. A merch line. Get lost.
Well, is she ridiculous for having it, or the people ridiculous for buying it?
I think it's both.
No, it's the back end. She can do whatever she wants. People buying $1 million worth of Hawk Tua hats need to go back home.
You can't see like every bachelor party or bachelorette party wearing all these hats all summer. We're never going to escape this thing, guys. This is it. This is our new reality.
No.
Ryan,
I hope not.
Flash in the pan?
This is so stupid.
She got on stage, and I was like, man, if she could sing, now that would be an all-time turn
she
of
has
events.
One line.
Yeah, she couldn't sing that well. It's like, imagine if she belted it out like all of a sudden this is like, Star is Born or something.
Oh, no, it won't be like that. You don't need to imagine it whatsoever.
She's singing Shallow out there.
0.
I'm buying Peter Hawk 2 ahead.
Put that on the board. Is that on the board?
I don't have a marker. I'll get one.
Let's find a marker. We'll write a list.
All right. Everything that Pete's mad at this morning. 855-212-4227. Coming up, look at an NFL front office in a way we've never had before. We'll do that next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Peter Bellotti, 5 days off in a row, but his grumpy demeanor didn't let it show. Back on the Maggie and Perloff show, his frown's as deep as ever. You know, Peter, why the grumpy face? 5 days of freedom, not a single trace of joy or laughter, just that familiar frown. Back on the air, bringing everyone down. We all week and no one gets time online. Still that grumpy mood he couldn't leave behind. 5 days off, but it's all the same. Backwards and grumble, no one to blame. Peter, what was the grumpy face? Andrew Bogusch, lost in the fog of golf. Bogusch can't see his way. People out his voice in his ears every day. Tom Brady's glory, it's all too much. Andrew Bogusch needs a break. Bogusch has had enough of Pete. Freedom from Bellotti, that's what Bogusch needs. People he won't leave alone. His voice keeps ringing in his headphones like a drone. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. People can't you see? Bogusch trying to be free in the sea of noise. Let Bogusch find his peace. Oh, get out of Bogusch's head. People Bogusch and swoosh, talking about the game. Yeah, that's the vibe. Bogusch and swoosh, on top of the game. NBA refs and dating advice, it's all the same. Whistle blows, foul or no foul. Refs calling shots, but when it comes to love, we got that knowledge too. Listen up, 'cause Bogusch and swoosh dropping truth for you. For you. Refs and romance, a serious combination here to give you. Boots and smooth weather on the corner and mattress. Boots and smooth playing their Bogusch.
Maggie's got some giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on poles, creating legs for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on puddles, creating lakes for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor.
All right, we officially have the board up here in the studio.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It just says, Pete's mad. These are all just things from this morning that we're writing down on the board. If you were watching the show, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet and twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. So Pete is mad that the Hawk Tua girl has merchandise. And apparently sales are booming.
Everyone should be.
Pete's mad that Gunnar Henderson is participating in the home run derby because it may screw up his swing, ergo Pete's fantasy team.
Correct.
Pete's mad at the suspended coach from Uruguay who is suspended because his team was late to the field twice. And
Right.
you don't like that.
There could be another punishment for it. It could be a fine, something not involving a suspension during the big game.
Okay. And also Pete mad that Zach Wilson got engaged. Not really sure why that is.
I don't know if it's mad. It's like, all right, whatever.
You sucked as a Jet. You don't get to have any happiness ever
Exactly.
again.
Give it a year.
Let it mellow a little.
Right.
Yeah, let it breathe.
I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, we could make Pete mad about it. We could bring up 50 topics right now and make Pete mad. Have you seen the Sixers rookie, Jared McCain, by the way?
No.
Have you seen,
Of course, from Duke, yeah.
Yeah, the TikTok specialist?
It's second day in Philly.
Yes.
Three lectures behind.
If I played those TikToks he does like 13-year-old TikToks.
Yeah, I know. I've seen him.
I think Pete would throw his computer monitor away.
Well, no, the funniest part about Jared McCain, and when he got drafted, instead of showing normal highlights like from basketball, the broadcast just showed his TikTok dances. Like, this is the guy who's going to be serious about winning, and it's like him just dancing.
He's done multiple ones as a Sixer. He's not played a second in basketball.
Yeah.
I don't understand this at all.
He's got 2.8 million TikTok followers, so that you got to feed the beast here.
Pete, how many
You know
do
he's
you
not
have?
going to be good. Well, you know he's not going to be good. There's the reason right there.
Because of the TikToking?
Yes.
Or he could be a star. He could
I gotta be honest. Most Sixers fans think he's not going to be good. Sixers fans are old school. They think he stinks already.
Well, okay, here's a question, though. These TikToks take about, 25 seconds to film?
It's not.
It's not taking out a big chunk of his day
Could be working on your jump shot.
for those 20 seconds.
It's also the way he does these TikToks. He is screwing with everybody's head because they're just so silly, right? I can't
I just
describe.
assume they're kind of just trendy. Whatever the trend is, he's doing. No?
It's very repetitive.
No, but he's intentionally goofy, and yeah, he just looks like a little kid.
Yeah,
Maybe
that'll work in Philly.
No, it's
love
not.
that.
I'm telling you, it's already not working. Luckily, they got Paul George, who's got all these minutes. But I don't know. A lot of people are into this guy. Who knows? I'll show these to you. We should have a video of Pete Bellotti sort of live judging different TikTok accounts.
Oh, that
Oh
would
my
be good.
God, you would hate all this.
He has to recreate them.
Oh, yeah. Can you do a Jared McCain TikTok dance?
Cut me a check.
1 cent.
Cut me a check.
Wait, Ryan, you're the youngest person here. You like what McCain's doing or no?
I don't find it interesting. It's very boring.
Yeah.
It's just a dude dancing to a song for 20 seconds.
I think he's getting a lot of shine from it just because of the basketball, obviously. Like, he's not like he's this amazing dancer.
He's not the worst dancer.
He's funny. He's a very, very
he's
funny
goofy.
dancer.
Because he's like laughing and smiling through it.
No, and the way he does the moves are really funny. Does that make sense?
Sounds like you do like him. So you're going against the grain on the fellow 76er fan.
I honestly, I could watch him do goofy TikToks. He does them exactly like my 13-year-old daughter does them, which is really kind of, it's not what you expect out of a guy who was 16 in the NBA draft. You think they'd be like kind of hardcore and training and stuff?
I don't think so. I said the big winner after he got drafted was nail salons in Philly. He's a manicure guy like Caleb Williams. This is the new thing, guys, with these young athletes.
That is we're doing a lot of old school versus new school this month and last month. That's a litmus test. Do you have a problem with a young athlete who paints his nails? If you do have a problem, you're old school. If you don't have a problem, you're new school.
You're right.
I wonder where Pete Bellotti falls on the nail painting for a major athlete.
I'm indifferent to it. I'm indifferent to it as long as it doesn't affect you on the court, on the field, anything.
Right. Listen, I mean, if it's even psychological that it helps you, then you got to keep doing it. Athletes are so superstitious, and I think that's where, especially for McCain, that's where this came from. He got a manicure, then he played really well.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? We were going to build our TikTok account a long time ago. Like when we first started, we did a few dances out on the street.
Have you seen how awful they are?
No,
They're
but
so bad.
what happened to where did our momentum go on building our TikTok account?
You know exactly what happened. Your 13-year-old daughter, Lucy, was our social media manager, and she had to go to school. We ruined all of it.
I think we
lost our labor.
We need to dive back into that.
The return is you paint your nails and do the Jared McCain TikTok dance.
I can't. I have no ability to dance as well as he does. I just can't do that.
I got some nail polish for you. Thank you, Ryan. It's how bad do you want it? Bogusch is back in.
I remembered a Pete upset topic from late last week. Tyrod Taylor's real estate issues with his ex-girlfriend.
You're right about that. I'm putting it on the list.
Add it. That list should be named after LeBron James and J.J. Redick.
I'm going to put them on, too. There's a lot of room here. We still have a whole hour left of show.
That's right.
Who knows what Pete's going to be ticked off about next. Coming up, what is going on with the Lakers and the Warriors, quite frankly, with NBA free agency underway. I'll tell you next.
Is Pete?
You're in a 5-minute break.
Manny and EJ, they're diehard Knicks fans, living in the big.
Peter Bellotti, he made a prediction. Said the Heat gonna win. Celtics got no conviction, but now he's hiding, running away. Won't own up to his words, can't face the dismay. He thought Miami would rise like the sun in the sky, but now he's got excuses, got no alibi. He thought the Heat had it, it was a sure bet, but they couldn't handle Boston, not just yet. Peter Bellotti, where you at now? You made a bold choice, but where's your wow? Can't stand the heat in the kitchen. Your predictions cold. You're playing hide and seek, leaving us in the fold. You're playing hide and seek.
45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Major moves for the Philadelphia 76ers. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. NBA free agency underway. We'll get into the Lakers and the Warriors and how they all fall into this thing. But Perloff, I've got some news for you about your favorite team.
Hit me.
Well, you already know that Paul George is now going to be a 76er, 4 years, $212 million. There you go. Wow, what a happy day for you.
My God, that's a lot of money.
Well, turns out the 76ers are not done spending. They have now inked Tyrese Maxey, a player I know you do like, 4 years, about $205 million, something, 5 years, $205, excuse me, something to the tune of about $40 million a year.
Right, so that's like that's not the highest max, is it?
I'm not sure, but according to Woj,
that's the max they can give him, but there are higher maxes out there.
Yeah, he didn't make All-NBAers. He didn't make All-NBA.
Yeah, he didn't make All-NBA.
But how about this? So you actually should be thanking Maxey and his agent, Rich Paul. According to Woj, they waited a year on the deal to allow the Sixers to maximize salary cap space. Now get $204 million for 5 years.
So let me ask you a question.
So thank you, Tyrese Maxey.
Does this mean they're out on the rest of their roster? Like, does that, or do they still have like a mid-level? I don't.
You tell me.
I have no idea because they were still sniffing around Klay. I don't know who else. They probably need one or two more veterans. I'm curious, because I don't understand how these maxes work at all. In fact, nobody who doesn't have a PhD from MIT understands this. So
they've designed it this way. They just want to keep us very confused forever.
I'll tell you right now, I mean, my instant reaction is like, yes, of course you're going to sign Tyrese Maxey. He's awesome. So this doesn't feel good or bad in the sense that, yeah, there's no decision here, right? Like, there's no way you weren't going to re-sign him for the max.
No, but from the outside, can I tell you what it looks like?
What?
It looks like a little like the Phoenix Suns, maybe, right? Where you have three guys who are super expensive, and how are you going to fill in around them? But I think they've already done that, I guess, with like the Nick Batums and the Kelly Oubres of the world. Because if you have Embiid who's making max money, you have Maxey who's making close to max money, and you have Paul George making max for his age and the amount of years, it feels like a lot to be tied up into three guys.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, except that two of these guys are homegrown, so that doesn't really feel. I mean, Embiid and Maxey's 23.
I'm just talking about just the money.
Yeah, but it doesn't. But the thing of the Suns, the big difference is that the Suns. Well, let's see. Two of the players were much older, so you got to look at it. Yeah, Embiid, obviously, the Maxey and Embiid, there's no choice here. There's no, debate. Do I sign this guy? It doesn't feel at all like Bradley Beal or even KD. KD is old. Paul George is old. That's why the Paul George piece of this is still, I'm very nervous. I feel like now it's title or bust, and now we have this guy who is getting a ton of money in Paul George, and he's 37. Maxey at 23, any team, all 30 teams would have done this deal. So this is good. I feel good about this. But again, is it now we have to win an NBA championship, or this Paul George move is going to look bad?
Well, that was always the stakes. And
yeah, but that's the thing. They're not going to reach the stakes, Maggie. You and I both know it.
Okay, but to be honest, you have a MVP in Joel Embiid. It's always got to be about championships, Perloff. Right. You can't just have an MVP and be like, we only want to be in the second round. Not getting out of the second round is what's killing you.
Yeah, but Paul George reminds me of bringing in James Harden. Reminds me very much of that. They brought in Harden to bring the best out of Embiid. And there's certain players. There's a reason you can get Paul George. I'm not as excited as all my Philly friends are, because I just worry that this team is going to be hurt and let me down and break my heart once again, Maggie, once again.
So you're doing the reverse. You won't even allow yourself to like this because you're already thinking about how it's going to be painful?
It's not even that. I'm not emotionally hedging. I'm being realistic.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand. Why is it I should be the mainstream take here. Is anybody in the NBA world, do any callers, does anyone in this room think that the Sixers are going to win the NBA title?
No, you're doomed. But I do understand why they did the deal. I mean, no, you're not doomed. But I do realize why they did the deal. Because first of all, you've been planning and plotting for all of this cap space, for a superstar. You weren't going to piecemeal this up on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Jonas Valanciunas or whoever you wanted to bring in. That wasn't going to happen. So you're star hunting. You have Daryl Morey as your general manager. He's always star hunting. And he basically took James Harden breaking up with Daryl Morey in front of a basketball camp in China for all of us to see and laugh at, or else this would have been money that was earmarked for James Harden. So I think you're probably better off maybe with Paul George, because now that Maxey can no doubt handle your point guard responsibilities, right?
Okay, you say that, and all that's true, and I can't even figure out any deals, but what if there was a world where this money could have gone to Donovan Mitchell, or this money could have gone to, Devin Booker, or something else?
Donovan Mitchell was never even a thought. Why not?
Well, I think it was a thought in everyone's mind, because I don't know what's going on.
Or maybe you didn't want to trade for him.
Well, no one's getting Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Donovan Mitchell turns out is running that program in Cleveland.
He really is.
He's the most powerful person in Cleveland. I mean, listen, I'm sure Donovan Mitchell was plan A for about 14 teams in the NBA, but why couldn't there be a younger superstar? Not just, I understand where they are in free agency now, but they've had time to build this team, and they just really, I'm not sure Paul George is a missing piece. I'm sure the missing piece is out there. I just don't know that they found it.
Okay, what about the idea that you didn't have to give anything up besides money to get Paul George? If it was Donovan Mitchell who's got a year left on his deal, look at how much it takes to get guys these days.
Yeah.
You need 5 first-round picks to basically get anybody.
Sixers have a ton of picks.
But again, that's mortgaging the future forever. This is now 4 years. If it doesn't work out, all right, you're free. You're scot-free in 4 years.
Yeah,
not you're doing pick swaps in the year 2050.
And the irony too is that they they weaken the Clippers, and they have the Clippers picks from the James Harden deal, so that makes it good. Yeah, I guess it's fine. It's just a matter of expectations.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the Lakers, because the news with them in terms of free agency is LeBron James was on the phone with Klay Thompson yesterday at 6 o'clock Eastern time, which is right when you could start tampering or whatever, signing free agents. It looks like the relationship between Klay and the Warriors is now to a point where it's toxic, according to Chris Haynes from Yahoo.
Yeah.
So things have gotten really bad there, and now LeBron James on the phone. If I am Klay, I'm definitely going to the Lakers. I'm going to go to a rival. Maybe the Mavs, if they give me something interesting, but do the Mavs have $25 million to give me? I might, if I'm really trying to stick it to the Warriors, maybe I go play with LeBron James in LA. My dad does the games on radio. It's going to be like a family thing.
Well, I think the money is the same for the Mavs and the Lakers.
I'm not sure.
But I think, I would go to the Mavs. Don't you want to win a title?
Here's the thing about the Mavs. I do want to win a title, and I just maybe a little, I don't know. It was the Luka Kyrie thing. Is this real, or is this everyone getting along really well for a year?
I don't know. The Luka thing is real. I don't know about where Kyrie fits in this, but I mean, can you imagine how open he's going to be? You gotta have 3 guys around Luka at all times.
No, I get it. Maybe this is the better fit. They did lose.
Derek Jones Jr.
Derek Jones Jr. Excuse me.
I just think
and Tim Hardaway's gone.
You look at the Lakers roster. Like, what is Klay's role? Explain to me what his role is, because you have D'Angelo Russell. I assume you have D'Angelo. Actually, I don't know.
He opted in.
I don't know as a fact though. Maybe
they'll trade him.
Yeah, maybe there's a sign and trade. They could sign and trade with Klay, or is that done?
They can.
They can.
So that would maybe be Russell, but the Warriors already had Russell. They don't want him, I would imagine. But then you got like LeBron as a guard in many ways. Like, what is Klay actually going to do for this team?
LeBron's on the phone with him.
Much needed shooter. They don't have much besides Reeves.
But Reeves has got to be on the court. LeBron's got to be on the court. Russell's got to be on the court.
Russell doesn't need to be on the court.
I don't know. He was there.
He played himself off the court in the playoffs.
I would also say, Klay was coming off the bench for a little bit too. So it's not like maybe Klay's coming off the bench. But that's a lot to pay for somebody who's coming off the bench.
He's not going to go to a team where he's come off the bench. He hated it with the Warriors.
He did, but again, do you want to? How many suitors do you really have here? Lakers,
3.
Clippers, I guess, and Mavs.
Yeah. Well, Lakers, Mavs,
and
Clippers, Magic.
Are the Sixers out?
I don't know.
I think he was going to meet with them.
Probably out just because they signed Drummond, Eric Gordon, Oubre, and now Paul George. So
it was
now re-signed Maxey.
It was only one series, but Russell played 38.4 minutes per game. They don't bench him, and he always has the ball.
He did not play well.
He definitely didn't play well, but I don't know. It feels like the Lakers are more crowded. I feel like the Mavs, Klay's gonna get to do what he wants. I think if you're a guy like Klay, how many shots am I gonna get? That's a big factor too. We always do this. I love the segment we had earlier. What players look bad at the end of their career in a uniform they shouldn't be in? Yeah. The odds are Klay is not going to be good wherever he goes. He's 34. It's probably toward the end. So we are making it. If he goes to the Magic, Maggie, that will just not be the way this should end.
Yeah, but you know what? It's funny. That's what we want as fans. But what does the player want? We asked this question, which athlete was weirdest to see in a new uniform? And it might be weirdest for us, but I never begrudge a guy who's trying to get the most out of the end of his career. Got a lot of responses to this. Ewing with the Sonics was a big one for people. Patrick Ewing in a Sonics uniform, and then with the Magic also. Emmett Smith with the Cardinals is what Perloff said. I said Akeem Olajuwon with the Raptors was one. And then we're getting a lot of Joe Montana with the Chiefs and Jerry Rice with the Raiders. But the thing is about that is Joe Montana was still good with the Chiefs. They made the AFC Championship game, and then he got concussed in the game, or else they may have won that game. Jerry Rice with the Raiders made a Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl, but still made it. Michael Jordan with the Wizards, Perloff still refuses to acknowledge. So
I will only acknowledge that he was still pretty good.
I'm seeing a lot of Celtics with Shaquille O'Neal. But, Shaq really bounced around at the end of his career quite a bit. I mean, it was Phoenix, it was Cleveland, it was Boston. When it's a couple different ones, does that a little bit different?
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Rice. Did Jerry Rice he suited up with the Broncos in training camp and never played for them? I
think so, yeah.
But there's pictures of him in a Broncos jersey that are just odd.
There's also a Deion Sanders in Washington, and I know Deion Sanders...
Well, he played there, didn't he?
Yeah, and then also Deion Sanders in... the Ravens went to training camp, but I do not think he ever played. He might have played for the Ravens. I'd have to double check. So we're asking you, what was the weirdest athlete to see in a different uniform off of Klay Thompson going to be breaking up here with the Warriors pretty soon? It's a shame it got toxic, though.
Yeah. I don't know. Where are the Warriors, too? Are they even in the mix? Or does anyone think that they're going to win another title for Steph Curry, or is he done?
So that's interesting because they were definitely trying to get Paul George, apparently, according to reports. They were trying to trade for him. That never ended up happening. So clearly they still fancy themselves trying to make moves in the mix here. I can't count the Warriors out yet. But again, I don't know if they were winning with Klay or without Klay. They certainly weren't winning with.
Do they make the playoffs, I think is the question. I mean, let's see what happens with John Moran. The West is still pretty loaded.
Can I get a focused Draymond Green for a whole season?
I mean,
it'll never happen.
I know.
I'll tell you, the playoff teams, are they better than Oklahoma City?
No.
Are they better than Minnesota?
No.
Are they better than Dallas?
No.
Are they better than the Nuggets?
No.
That's 4 right there for sure. Then
Okay, well, 25 teams make the playoffs, so
right.
we're
Well,
good.
then are they better than? Well, the Clippers fell apart. That's good. Are they better than Phoenix?
Yeah.
No.
Are they?
No.
But like,
One
what's
star?
going on with Phoenix? You got Kevin Durant maybe wants out.
You still have 3 stars compared to 1 in the Warriors, unless you expect Andrew Wiggins and Moses Moody.
No, I can't
to
expect that.
Bounce back years.
Are they better than the Lakers?
I don't think so.
No, I mean the Lakers are definitely. I think. And are they better than the Pelicans if the Pelicans are healthy?
No.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
pretty big. We didn't even talk about DeJounte Murray to the Pelicans. That feels like ancient history. But are they better than the Kings?
Well, they just lost to the Kings.
I know.
So
They're lucky the Clippers stink now, though, so that should be good for them.
what does that get you? Absolutely nothing. 855-212-4227. I don't know. How are the Warrior fans feeling about this?
That's interesting. I mean, yeah. Then again, we probably counted them out before they won that last title. So you have a good point. That is a team that you might be a little bit nervous about counting out.
Covered a lot of ground there. So we've got the news that just came across that Tyrese Maxey gets a contract extension from the 76ers. So 76ers land Paul George and get this extension done with Tyrese Maxey. We've got the Lakers calling Klay Thompson, but could they win a bidding war for him against the Dallas Mavericks if that's indeed what this comes down to? And then on top of it, we have the Warriors' future. Are they even a playoff team this season? And lastly, the athlete that was weirdest to see in a different uniform at the end of their career. 855-212-4227. Lots on the table for you. Coming up, we tell you whose stock is up and whose stock is down after a huge weekend.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to Maggie Perloff. Every Monday we do the M&P 500 stock up, stock down. Can I start? Because I'm doing one that this guy is going to need a new stockbroker because he has a lot of money. Okay. A lot of money throwing around in the NBA right now. But the one that stood up to me, and this person personally is stock up, Cade Cunningham, Detroit Pistons, 5 years, $226 million contract, could be worth an additional $44 million. Cade Cunningham, is he good? So
I don't know.
He scored 22 points a game last year, which surprised me because he was hurt the year before. This team lost 28 games in a row last year. It's the worst team in the NBA. And they just signed he gets all that money? Is there any middle ground in the NBA? Is it like NFL quarterbacks? You're telling me Cade Cunningham is worth a max, Maggie? Why would you do this?
Got to pay somebody. There is
so
a salary
you gotta pay
floor.
somebody, and he's so overpaid.
No, I mean, was he the number one overall pick?
Yeah, he was number one.
Number one overall pick. I mean, you gotta be hanging on to some of this talent, and I'm sure he's in line for these things are all slotted. They don't just like come up with a number.
I know, but he has to get the max. I just think that he is so far from an NBA max player. They were terrible last year with him. They were the worst. Anyway, but he's stock up because he's at the right place at the right time. So this is a big deal. I mean, he's got generational wealth for barely playing in the NBA. And honestly, I don't think he's that good.
When you put it that way, yeah. Yeah, he did. It's a fair question. What has he done to warrant $200 million?
$226 million with an extra 44 if he makes an All-NBA. That would be 200 and more.
Thank you, math whiz. I mean, they're paid. How much did they pay to Monty Williams to go away?
I don't know. Like people, he's making more than they offered Danny Hurley, right? With
also,
the Lakers.
Monty Williams, JB Bickerstaff. Are we sure we got an upgrade there? All right. My stock up has to go to Florida Panthers head coach Paul Maurice. At the championship parade yesterday, a torrential downpour, Paul Maurice, very excited to be a champion, definitely not sober in this clip.
For every one of you, 30 years. For that woman over there, 30 years of being married to an asshole.
Oh.
I want to, in my wildest dreams, I've never would have thought I could see this. Seriously, understand this. Everybody that we love in this world is fucking happy right now.
This is something that only sounds good when you are totally wasted. This guy's, we're all in it together. So, it's kind of odd when the head coach of the team, whose only goal is to win a title, is like, I could have never imagined this. Like, isn't this exactly what you're supposed to be imagining every day and selling everyone else on the same vision? But still, very, very drunk. Also, Paul Maurice showing off a custom Panthers shirt that he had with cats on it.
I want to thank all of you for these men here for welcoming our families to Florida. For our wives, our children to come to Florida. My 2 cats, this is Poppy. Wait, this is Penny. Those are my 2 cats. My daughter made the shirt. I promised her we win the Stanley Cup. I'm wearing that shirt.
The parade's got to be amazing because anything you say gets cheered. These are my cats. Yeah. There you go. Stock up, Paul Maurice. Who's your stock down, bro?
Okay. It's not just one person. It's an entire genre.
Okay.
So I spent the entire weekend after the kickball fiasco.
It was a fiasco. Our poor executive producer, E.J. Stewart, is laid up now with a knee injury.
Not a lot of live sports that I really needed to watch. I wanted to watch, so I got hooked on another Netflix reality show about selling real estate. Okay. I'm now a total junkie. The latest one's called Owning Manhattan. It's with Ryan Serhant, who was in $1 Million Listing, the guy with gray hair.
Okay.
Unbelievably charming, really, really funny. He honestly looks like he should be on camera more than selling real estate. I watched the shows, and then I did a deep dive into some of the characters.
Oh, you were doing some Googling?
I believe, and I found that there's a lot of accusations that some of these real estate brokers are actually actors that were cast.
I agree with that.
And they're not real estate brokers. What, did you know about this, Pete?
Well, because I did it last night.
Wait, what?
You did the same thing I did.
I dived into his organization.
Yes.
And I didn't see anybody on there.
Yes.
I may have saw one person, but my wife was saying it too, that a lot of these guys want to be in Hollywood. And it's not so much about the real estate. And even if they are in the real estate, they're just using it as a launching point to go to Hollywood.
Right.
You guys are just figuring out now that people use reality TV to try to get to something else?
No, but they're like, I don't even think they're really real estate brokers. And this is a reality show that I've done. I've spent 18 hours of my life watching. I'm not sure what's going on here because it's convincing, Pete. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I hope this person gets this commission. It turns out like they answered a casting call to get there.
Meanwhile, a couple of those people I would not want to buy real estate off of at all.
Wait, are the buyers real?
I have no idea. No way. I wonder what if you're a buyer, why would you be on this show unless you want publicity?
I think it's more the broker. I don't think you really see the buyers. You see more the brokers.
Oh, okay.
So I watch.
So you're like, your whole life is a lie now because these reality TV brokers might not actually have a license.
So this is what happens. I get into it because the apartments and the houses are so cool. Like, they're unbelievable to watch. But then you're like, okay, this is it's a $47 million house in Beverly Hills. But then all of a sudden, Chloe and Trisha are fighting, and I got to see what happens. So it's getting late. It's bedtime. I'm like, well, Chloe's clearly in the wrong here. She's making about herself once again. And all of a sudden, I forgot about the whole real estate thing. Pete, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These are magicians who make these reality shows. And yes, I knew there was some fiction to it, but I didn't know that this is that fake. So I was very disappointed.
This is, by the way, the man who's been in more movies than how many IMDb credits do you have here?
Fictional movies. Nobody thinks Adam Sandler's, That's My Boy was a documentary.
You know how the industry works.
Yes, but
you're the last person who should be shocked.
I just think that reality TV, you always hear that it's fake. The degree of it's fake. I'd like to see a really good documentary on how fake all those other shows are, like The Bachelor, for example. Is that fake?
Yes, they're all fake. Apprentice was fake.
You mean
that wasn't even Trump's house?
You mean The Golden Bachelor? That was not true love?
Yeah, so that's your stock down.
Wait. That's not even Trump's house. Was Trump's house in The Bachelor? I thought it was in some.
No, The Apprentice.
The Apprentice. I thought that was like an office somewhere.
I also could see in these reality shows that they don't use their real houses because of a risk of someone stalking you. So I can see them using a fake house.
Got it.
And that.
Got it. But a fake person who pretends to be a real estate agent?
I mean, they had you fooled, so maybe they're better actors than we gave them credit for. All right, my stock down. This one is just more sad. Jamarcus Russell might be in some trouble here. He was a volunteer assistant coach at his alma mater, which is Williamson High School in Mobile, Alabama, and he's now facing a lawsuit accusing him of taking $74,000 of a donation that was meant to go to the school and somehow ended up in his bank account. It was supposed to go to upgrades from a local business owner named Chris Knowles, wrote a $74,000 check after Russell approached him about a donation to help the football team get new weight room equipment. School never received the check, and Russell reportedly deposited in a credit union and then withdrew $55,000 of it. So now, not only was he fired as the volunteer coach, he's not allowed at the school's campus anymore, and he may be facing some charges. I know. Just so sad. Like, to rip off your own alma mater is just, there's something particularly low about that. It'd be low no matter what, but it's like your own school.
Yeah, I mean,
probably the last people who are sticking by you.
That's so funny because you still hear like that is the gold standard of pro days was Jamarcus Russell. This dude put on the greatest throwing display ever known in shorts. So much potential. I guess, you know, it's not a lot of players run into hard times. It just feels like for Jamarcus Russell, it's just kind of been a little bit worse.
Yeah.
I mean, our buddy Ryan Leaf is always known as the bust, but at least he's turned it into a very positive story.
Ryan's totally turned his life around. I mean, it took a minute, but he's completely changed.
He's an inspiration to others, and Jamarcus Russell is the exact opposite.
Yeah, so this is not great for Jamarcus Russell, so that's got to be my stock down. There you go. But does he host a reality TV show about real estate?
Well, that's where he's going to get.
Maybe that's his next venture.
By the way, you laugh, Maggie. Watch one episode of Owning Manhattan, and you will be in for the entire run. I guarantee you won't even go to bed.
I'm telling you, I can't keep up with all of your recommendations, to be honest. Like, you recommended Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Oh, that's
reality
incredible,
show.
by the way.
And now the real estate stuff. Like, I don't have this amount of time.
I mean, I think Netflix algorithm has kind of gotten into my brain.
You think?
But the Cowboys thing is awesome. I would recommend that to everybody too, because you get to see the inner workings of the Jones family. Like, that's no joke. What's going on there down in Dallas? It's a lot of organizational things. Yeah, I found it very interesting. Also, too, it's really terrible. There's like, I don't want to spoil. There's like a real there's a sexual harassment claim that they deal with very professionally. Like, the Cowboys know what they're doing, which is funny because you didn't think they did.
I wouldn't have thought that. No.
Yeah, the cheerleaders know what they're doing. Let's face it, they are the gold standard of cheerleader. Like that, if they could just put the effort and the professionalism they put in their cheerleading squad into the football
roster?
team, yes.
I mean, could Mike McCarthy coach the cheerleading squad?
No.
Is there a Dak Prescott of cheerleaders? Is there a head cheerleader or the star cheerleader?
Yes, there's. Yes, my wife had a favorite. She was sort of the unofficial leader. Yeah, no, it's actually a really good series.
Do they say that cheerleader is like having a hand at 17?
Oh, no, I forgot.
They said about Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
It's having a blackjack hand of 17. It's good.
Well, you said who said that? It was on our show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Ty Dunn last week.
Yeah.
Great analogy. No, but they're also they're crazy good dancers. They're all professional cheerleaders, dancers. They're really good.
Yeah, I know. They're supposed to be professional football players on the other side, and they are very good. They win a lot of games. They just lose in the playoffs.
Yeah, now I want to see Mike McCarthy coach the cheerleaders, just for the hell of it.
Is he holding them accountable?
Yeah, I see like you're kind
Jazz
of
hands.
I feel like you're dripping with a little bit of judgment here. Did you guys hear the judgment of my reality show? Bilotti gets me on this one.
Oh, I heard on the real estate show. It's some good stuff on that show. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, you recommend a lot of stuff, and I can't get to all of it.
And I'm also with Maggie in that it's hard to know exactly how long your days are because you do a lot of stuff.
Well, okay, I can watch it. So I watched the whole series. I only I'll fast forward. There's, I think, 6 28-minute episodes. I will just watch the first 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't care for that character. Fast forward. I can do 3 episodes in 25 minutes.
Actually, that's true. Perloff's seen the first episode of every show that's ever been made.
Yeah.
And do you know this other thing that Perloff does? But can I spill some of your tea?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if Bogusch and Bilotti and Ryan know this. Perloff will do this thing where if you will sit down to watch a movie or a series and then stop watching after the first episode, but go to the Wikipedia page and find out how it ends.
100% of the time.
It's an interesting quirk. I don't know anyone who does that except for you.
All that being said, like, you have to understand you know who else watches Netflix, like crime documentaries? Everybody. Yeah. I'm in the large majority. We all watch either about cults or murders or real estate. That's all America's doing right now.
But usually people watch through to the end to get the ending.
These shows on Netflix are done. There's like 6 episodes of 20 minutes. They're done like a flash. These are not, this is not
hoop dreams.
Yeah, these are really quick and easy.
Right, and I watch a lot of them too. Just you've watched 10 and I've watched 4. I'm trying to figure out where you have the time to watch the other 6. Like that's what I can't. Like I don't even have. Like I don't have a 3-hour window to sit down and power watch these crime docs. I watch them in like 15-minute spurts whenever I can. So
like
it takes
one?
a while. There was one I just watched.
What are you watching?
It was a 4-parter by the Law and Order guys. But it was a real homicide in New York. It was about old New York actual police cases.
You want to talk about the Carnegie Deli murders?
Yeah.
Jeez, how have you seen everything? The Carnegie Deli murders.
That's literally the only thing I watch are documentaries. So there's nothing else. I haven't watched like a movie in a long time. Except Inside Out 2. I saw that, but.
And you watched the Sydney Sweeney movie.
Anyone But You?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Perloff also came in. He's like, Kung Fu Panda. Perloff said Kung Fu Panda 4, not worth your time. I was like, thanks.
Overrated.
First 3, you got to see them. But number 4, you can pass.
It's like, thanks, I'll make a note of it.
They mailed in Kung Fu Panda 4 like you would not believe. Well, you're a parent, Maggie. Of course, you haven't seen the Kung Fu Pandas yet?
No, my kid just wants to watch Super Mario Brothers over and over again. Let's get to some headlines.
Nothing wrong with that.
Andrew Bogusch, it's a good movie. Bugs, what do you have?
Pete's Luigi. At least they still have James Harden. The Clippers watching Paul George leave town for Philly, 4 years, $212 million. But Harden's sticking around, yay, for 2 years and $70 million. LA also adding former Mav Derrick Jones Jr. Back in Philly, the Sixers have now reportedly signed Tyrese Maxey to a 5-year, $204 million rookie max extension. They've also retained the debonair Kelly Oubre Jr. They bring back Andre Drummond, and they signed veteran shooter Eric Gordon. Chris Paul found work quickly after being waived by the Warriors, reportedly signing with the Spurs for $11 million for the coming season. The blossoming Magic add Nugget shooter Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. The Pacers have re-signed Obi Toppin. And in Detroit, there's that Cade Cunningham huge extension and a new head coach. J.B. Bickerstaff gets the job after losing it in Cleveland despite taking the Cavs to the postseason. Let me walk you guys through this again at the risk of re-angering Pete. MLB is changing the home run derby format once again. Most of the changes designed to slow down the competition after some player complains that the pace was too frantic. Round 1 is also no longer a head-to-head, just 8 batters with the top 4 advancing. And Orioles shortstop Gunnar Henderson is the first commitment. He and his team took an 11-2 home loss from the Rangers on Sunday Night Baseball. Texas left fielder Wyatt Langford recording the first cycle in the majors this season.
Yeah, man, super cool. First time I've done it in my life, so definitely a cool moment. And like I said, we definitely needed to win the game.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. So Gunnar Henderson's the only person we know is doing the Derby?
So far,
okay.
Yes.
Any other ideas about, are we getting any of the, is Pete Alonso back? Do we get Aaron Judge?
I mean, Alonso always wants to be in it, it feels like.
All right, screw up your swing, go be in it. Go ahead, Pete.
Is Judge halfway to 62 now, right?
He is. I think, though, Pete, and I'm sure someone can find it, I think the numbers no longer support the idea that guys fall apart after the home run derby.
Okay, well, let's see.
The clock is the best thing they ever did to that.
So now what they're going to do is there's still a clock.
It's just,
but you only have 40 pitches because guys are going rapid fire to get as many pitches as you can. So now you got to slow down a little bit. You got to work on efficiency, and you still somehow get a bonus round. But now the bonus round is just you swing until you make 3 outs. It used to be time. So again, they were going boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to just give the guys a little more pace. But it got too long, which is why they went to
the clock.
The higher paced one, and now
Yeah.
it's too fast, so they're trying to find something, I guess, in the middle.
Why was like injury risk by going too fast?
Guys felt like they were too tired, so therefore,
okay.
then they were in the risk of injuring themselves by continuing to swing like in a
They
fatigue.
couldn't like lift their arms by the end.
Yes.
It's kind of weird to see,
Well,
actually.
that's not good. How about we go back to the old way of doing it when we had two players and we had an announcer and they did it at Crawford Field, and everyone just had a good time, relaxed, and that was it. No problems, no one getting hurt, no 40 balls being thrown at somebody. We hit home runs. We went home and had a steak.
A well-seasoned steak and a cigarette and a scotch.
That's
and yeah,
right.
in the off-season, they filmed a TV show that lasted a half an hour.
Right.
All right, so we got the Pete's. What Pete's mad at today? Board behind me if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or now Twitter. Hawk Tua merch. Gunnar Henderson, just in general. Suspended coach from Uruguay because his team was late. Zach Wilson's engagement. Tyrod Taylor as a landlord, and now just the Derby.
Yeah.
Well, no, you could put Gunnar Henderson / home run derby.
Okay, got it. I'll put them together.
And I just want to stress for the longtime Pete fans, these are just the new things.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
the
this is
pre-existing anger, that's still there.
All two of you out there.
We haven't cleaned the slate. We have not hit a reset button. These are always additions. They're just additions, not replacements, not just additions.
We're building up.
Yes.
For the real estate fans.
To infinity.
Anyone can join along. For the good fans that are out there that have been there for a while, and for those that are just listening the first time today. So it's open to anybody.
Like and subscribe below.
Right.
Fun for the whole family.
Do you guys have, by the way, it's a total side. Do you guys have like a favorite home run derby moment? Mine being, I'll tell you, I can't remember exactly who at Fenway was it. I think McGuire did the Fenway. He almost hit the ball through the Green Monster. Yeah. That was crazy. The roided up. The home run derby was awesome before we knew they were all on steroids. That is my memory of it.
I was going to say, that didn't really stop us.
Guess.
I don't think we really knew in '98, did we? Well, during the chase when they kept cutting in, I don't think we were as aware.
I think we chose not to.
Is that what happened?
aware.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I remember it being kind of awesome, but that Fenway one was crazy.
I think my favorite was probably, I was working at MLB at the time, so this one sticks out for me, was the Josh Hamilton at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Because his story was so good and how he had come back and he just couldn't miss.
That Fenway All-Star game was great because that was the home run derby was awesome. Ted Williams was there, and that's when Pedro struck out like 6 straight Hall of Famers across 2 innings. That was a ridiculous
Wasn't
All-Star
Junior
game.
involved in that too at some point? Did he?
I'm sure he hit home runs in that derby.
Oh, man.
Because everyone wanted to do it with the Green Monster. It was perfect.
I don't think you'll get that collection of stars together in a long time. That was stars that were retired and then stars that were playing. That was one of the best All-Star games of all time.
Certainly not in 2 weeks at Globe Life Park 2 in Arlington, Texas.
Really?
Not going to have the same magic.
I don't think so. Simone Biles officially back on the U.S. gymnastics team again, winning the trials in Minneapolis last night. And she told USA Today afterwards the Chicago Bears are giving her husband, safety Jonathan Owens, a few days off during training camp so he can watch her in person in Paris. The Stanley Cup champion Panthers have re-signed. I was waiting for Pete to chime into a negative, like stay in camp. No,
Well,
by the
it's
way,
not going to matter. They're going to stink anyway.
Okay.
that I was going to say, even I was tempted to say, oh, that's loser energy to leave training camp for Paris. It's on TV, dude.
It's on TV. The Stanley Cup champion Panthers have re-signed winger Sam Reinhart for 8 years and $69 million. Winger Jake Gensel reportedly getting $7 and $63 from the Lightning. The Red Wings re-signing Patrick Kane. Free agency opens at noon Eastern today. And in addition to Texas and Oklahoma officially joining the SEC today, Army football is officially no longer independent, now a member of the AAC. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Coming up, major question marks for both the Warriors and the Lakers. We've got that for you next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining.
Under the bright lights.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Stood ready, aiming for new heights. But fate took a turn on that somber fight. Left us all speechless, nothing to say. Chase me, oh, it has left us in the silence. The crowds hush, dreams on hold. The cheers now freeze. Hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Once danced on the field, now a quiet rest.
45 seconds
Each stride a memory, we thought you the best. The journey's paused, the spirit feels heavy. Oh, how we miss you. Strong and steady, chase me. Oh, it has left us in the silence. The crowds hush, dreams on hold. The cheers now freeze. Hope fades out with a gentle breeze. Can the stars align once more for you? Hear the whispers in the morning dew. Stand by you in highs and lows, waiting for the day you rise and glow. And chase me, all it has left us in the side.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. If you're watching, we're on youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. We're also streaming now on X through my account at Maggie Gray. And in the break, our very own Andrew Kaplan was putting up scenes from our kickball game and tournament over the weekend.
Oh,
Pearl.
no way. How did Cap get a hold of those?
Just whatever has already been put on social media. So we're not telling any tales out of turn here.
Well, Well, just photos, because I took some video, but I didn't expect anyone to put it out on social media because it wasn't flattering. I couldn't find any flattering video.
No, thank you for sending only me the clips of me.
Well, no, I sent Zach the clips of Zach.
What'd you say, Pete?
Take a picture of another team.
Yeah, pretending it was us.
Yeah. I have video of myself flying out to right. I have video of Zach flying out to center. I have video of you lining out to the first baseman. I couldn't get a hit.
Of any runs being scored.
I couldn't get a hit.
You'll notice.
Then after 3 outs, but there was a mercy rule, by the way, and we avoided it for the most part.
Is that right? So
there were only 3-inning games, and it was a 7-run mercy rule. Maggie kind of left to help with EJ, but we hung in there and avoided getting mercy ruled.
Yeah, so we're thinking about our pal EJ, executive producer of the show, because he suffered a knee injury while trying to steal third during our very first kickball game in the top of the first inning. I mean, I appreciate EJ was trying to set the tone that we're going to be an aggressive base running team, but just a terrible, cruel twist of fate and luck and the kickball gods just not smiling on us on Saturday. At Dion Dawkins, the left tackle for the Buffalo Bills, who's good friends with Zach Gelb, who's on this network, at his charity softball event. So it was tough to kind of go on after that, Pearl, because, EJ's our guy, and we didn't really know what to do. It was like, are we going to go to the hospital here? And it was a lot of logistical conversations. It was 100 degrees.
Yes.
A lot was going on.
Now I'm watching I'm looking at tape. I'm studying tape of the kickball. So your mistake was to hit it to the right side. Same with me. If you hit it to the left side on the ground, you could basically get the first base every time. There's no throwing out. We learned that too late. I feel like we could organize, and next year we're going to do better.
You think there's next year?
I don't know. I don't think.
I
don't even think EJ's going to be ready by next year.
Oh no, he'll be back. He's going to be fine. But I can't imagine any of us would ever say yes to this ever again.
Really?
No. And this is not Zach's fault or Dion Dawkins' fault or anything like that. It's just the morale just couldn't have been lower after EJ got hurt. I just can't imagine we'd be able to get the band back together.
Makes me want to join.
Exactly. It's a pretty devastating injury for EJ.
What if it was near your house, Pete? Would you do it? No?
After this.
Actually, there's video I didn't send Maggie. Sorry, Maggie, I didn't send you video. You fouled off one to the right, and you almost hit a guy who wasn't looking on the opposing bench.
Sounds about right. I was going to bunt for my very first at-bat, and I wish I had.
I would do live commentary. If it was close to my house, I would come and do live commentary.
It's a sad state of affairs.
You would have watched for 8 seconds, Pete, and be like, these people are terrible. I might as well jump out there. That's the thing. I was like, I have a knee injury. I'm like, I'm not even going to hit. Like, they're not going to want me slow out there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody else is any good. I might as well throw my 2 hats and my 2 cents in here. That was a sad display. But you know what? I actually had a really fun time. It was good, except for the injury. It was really good to hang with everyone away from the office. I think we were like a really fun, nice group.
Good vibes, except EJ got hurt.
Yes, athletically, we're challenged, Maggie. I'm not going to lie.
Which is odd, considering we work at a sports talk radio station. And funny, the thing that we had the biggest expertise on was not actually playing kickball. It was when EJ got hurt. We were like, non-contact injury, went down, grabbing for the back of the knee. Like, where you have to basically be an amateur, orthopedic doctor to do this job, and we were all diagnosing EJ on the spot.
I thought it was a torn ACL. Isn't that the most common knee injury? I didn't really know much about this torn patellar tendon. Then some people were listing other athletes who've had that injury.
Yeah.
It sounds like a bad one.
Yeah, Edwin Diaz, the closer of the Mets, also with a non-contact injury. Same kind of thing. But Dion Dawkins was very nice about it and offered to help. So we're going to hold him to that.
Yes. By the way, Dion, very nice guy. He's a big dude. I'm not going to lie to you. But he's one of these NFL athletes who probably weighs 320 or something, who moves just like better than any of us.
Yep.
These left tackles, we underestimate how athletic they are.
He's kind of built like a fridge,
He's built like a fridge, but just walking he's an athlete. He's a good player. You got to be happy. You're like, nobody say anything bad about Dion. He's my man.
Also, don't hurt yourself playing kickball, man. Really, really need you out there this year.
Dion,
just got a new contract extension.
Dion was not. I saw him pinch pitching.
Yeah,
which was fun. That was harmless. It was okay. It was a nice time. I think EJ would have had more fun than anybody.
I know, which is the whole devastating part of this. So,
we're
sending all of our positive vibes to EJ. We obviously we're talking to him all the time. It's just we know it's a bummer for him to be out.
I'd like to do a poll question to EJ, though. Which upsets you more, your knee injury or if the Knicks lose Isaiah Hartenstein?
You know the answer to that. It's Hartenstein.
Oh, yeah. It's not even close.
Yeah. And he's looking at the OKC now, which is just going to make them even better.
Yeah. Well, right. So Hartenstein is right now negotiating with OKC. I'll bet you EJ's not even listening to the show. He's just refeeding woes to see what happens to his Knicks.
He'll blow out both knees to get him back in New York.
I know. Sacrificing to the kickball gods. Just... not cool. Now, Pete, you mentioned you'd go and sit and have a beer. That was one thing that was noticeably absent from this whole charity thing. There was no booze. And maybe if we had a little, although EJ is not much of a drinker, then maybe it would have been a little more loosened up.
That's the whole part of the whole thing. It's like beer league softball.
I know.
There was booze everywhere. How did you not know?
There was?
Oh, my God. There was a giant case of White Claws and there was a giant case of something else.
Really? I thought those were energy drinks.
How do you think No, there was White Claws everywhere. How do you think we stayed in the game?
I didn't even see them.
Oh, actually, I don't know. People brought some beers. Now, here's a question. We should do something fun. What should we do that's not kickball or competitive? Like, how can we all get together?
Like to make EJ feel better?
No. Just to get like Pete involved. Like, why don't we all do something away from work where we're actually enjoying ourselves instead of some kind of tournament?
Well, if it can't be anything physical, what do you want to all sit around and read the paper? Like, what are we going to do?
Have a
poker
barbecue.
Tournament?
Have a barbecue.
Okay. We got to do something.
Well, have a party. Why do we have to do something? What do you mean? We have to do something competitive? Why can't we just all go to like a pool and drink beer and eat hamburgers?
We can't sit around and read the paper?
Yeah. There's something between a kickball tournament and sitting around reading the paper. Like it's called a party.
Okay.
Camaraderie.
We can have a party. You want to have a party? Let's have a party.
I'm a fan of escape rooms.
I love escape rooms.
Yeah, maybe we should have an end of the summer party, and then hopefully EJ will be like back up on his feet by then.
Just have a barbecue. We don't need some sort of competitive thing to all get together, like at an escape room. We'll miss Monday's show. We'll still be in there with this group.
Thank you, Ryan Botcher. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Ain't that the truth? Thank you, Andrew Bogusch. Thank you, Andrew Kaplan. We those coffee drinkers. We'll see you tomorrow.